Welcome to Armchair Expert. I'm Dan Rather. I'm joined by Mr. Mouse.
Hi.
Hi.
Mr. Moss?
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Moss.
Yeah.
Oh, we have our favorite actress on today.
Oh my God, is she good?
What a powerhouse. Elisabeth Moss. She is an Emmy award-winning actor, 14 nominations, a producer and a director. The Handmaid's Tale has blown our mind for years.
Also Mad Men. I mean, and West Wing. Like, she's been in everything amazing.
The Invisible Man. Top of the Lake. Season 5 is out now of The Handmaid's Tale. And what is fun about this, and what's fun for us, is a joyful, playful little creature.
She really is.
If you come to see her suffering weekly on The Handmaid's Tale, you would think, oh, this gal's probably very melancholy.
Yes.
She is a ray of sunshine.
She really was. It was so nice to see that part.
Yeah, I agree. Please enjoy Elisabeth Moss.
He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert. He's an armchair expert.
Well, I got my bag till the end.
I
know,
love
I really
bags,
like
and
that.
I got it.
It's a little different from cars, I would think. It's just because of the
Price point?
I put many of my purchases up against y'all's bags,
It's
and I
true.
bet the bag was more.
If you get an Hermes bag, that's on par.
Yeah, I'm not buying
Kelly bag.
I'm not
Kelly
buying Kelly.
You're
and
not going
Hermes
Kelly.
bags.
Good for
That's
you.
not what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. We buy everyone who's a guest on the show a Kelly bag.
When everyone loves the show.
That's why we're in the red.
It's so popular. It's super popular, but in the red.
Yeah,
We
yep,
cannot figure out how to
exactly.
turn
It's so weird.
Why is it so popular? I was confused by the address because I'm from LA. You know what I mean? And I was like, and I looked it up and I was like, what gated house is right there? And then I saw it, I was like,
And we have a gate that goes into Laughlin Park. Normal people would have closed that off and just used Laughlin Park.
yeah.
But I have a 45-foot tour bus I have to pull in and out. And you can't do it in the neighborhood. So
it.
we made it even bigger, the access from
Right.
Is it out there? No, it's not.
It's not. It's being repaired in Texas.
I would have said something.
Okay, yeah, you would have noticed.
Is that the kind of thing you would notice? You'd be shocked. Some guests, they roll right by. Like, it looks like Aerosmith spent the night here last night. And there's not any curiosity to them.
I think the combination of like the pool, the tour bus, the construction, I would have said something. I would have been like, this is a lot going on out there.
Yes. It's a very active space.
It's an active set.
The set is hot. The set is hot. And the
hot.
weapons are hot.
Don't
Everything's
touch anything.
hot.
Everything's hot. Everything's live.
This is a weird question that I don't know if it's appropriate. But were you at the Emmys last night?
I was not at the Emmys,
Okay.
and I like that you thought that was inappropriate.
Because I was like, well, if she...
Right, like
I
if I
would've
was
seen-
nominated and you like didn't know.
Correct.
And like, yeah, I was
But
like,
it's like, because I think you would be nominated for
Well,
every
I know.
Emmy
I was
ever.
nominated and I won last night.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm offended you don't know.
I see where it's like the worst thing you could do is ask somebody if they were in the movie you just saw. Right. That would be like, ooh. Yes, I was. I was third on the call sheet. It was pretty relevant in that film. And I guess in a weird way, it was a television production. And asking if you were there seems a little bit like she could have been there and you missed
Well, because
her.
she always could have been there.
You've been nominated 14 times?
I don't actually know. and
I do.
that's
I just
not-
read about
There
you.
you go.
Yeah, 14.
Is that right? I'm happy to go with 14.
I think it's a little much. I hope you're embarrassed by
a little
that number
overzealous.
a
It's a
little
little
bit.
greedy.
Now, here's something I want to ask you about right out of the gates now that we're on the Emmys. You've been nominated 14 times, but you've won twice. That means
Yeah.
you've gone 12 times. Let me also say, it's not something I've ever coveted.
Good for you.
I think I realistically assess my skill set, which is I'm not going to win one of those. I'm not even in pursuit of one. But I do go to those things
Yeah.
occasionally because my wife's either hosting or I'm presenting. They're not entirely for me, just in general. And then I think, how many times would I have to come where they nominate me where I finally would be like, I'm not coming, guys. Unless you somehow tell me to be there. Like, I can't do the whole thing again to sit there and be the person that doesn't get it.
Totally.
If you have those feelings?
Of course, which is sort of a very ungrateful thing to say.
It's just
but
normal.
I've lost so many more times than I've won, so I'm much more used to losing is the thing. So for me, my experience of going to the Emmys is going and trying to enjoy it and seeing people that I know being absolutely terrified, extremely nervous the entire evening and then losing.
Right.
And then being exhausted.
And then the cherry on the cake is that you lost. People get worried about making the speech. Give me the speech. I'm fine with that. Also announce my name I won. I can handle that. The close-up of me being a graceful loser, I feel like is the greatest acting challenge of all time.
You get really good at it.
You do?
Yeah.
I guess you got to act happy for the person who won.
Yes, and humble. This was the right choice.
Justice was served here today.
It's such a weird, heady experience. I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but it's just so out of body when they're reading the names, and that doesn't get old. I remember, I think it was Amy Poehler who once described it as in those last seconds before they read the name, when they're opening the envelope, you think you're going to win. Even if you have fully prepared yourself to lose, the buildup and the tension is so
visceral.
Well, you can't rehearse for the physiological response to the experience. Your body's going to take over.
Exactly. So as far as the reaction to losing, you're just so out of your head and frozen and just kind of can't believe what's going on at all, that it's easier than you'd think.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go for one now. I'm going to come out of retirement.
There's a whole Friends episode about the gracious loser face.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
They covered everything in those
Friends.
300 episodes, didn't they?
Yeah, they got it all.
Were you on Friends?
I wasn't. But that's a good question.
It is.
Inappropriate.
Yeah.
But good.
I'm hitting all the appropriate questions.
Dangerous. Like, what if she had a huge moment on Friends and you've seen every episode?
But that's the problem. I would have known if that were the case. But then I thought something could have slipped by, like Mae Whitman. You know, she slipped by when she was a little kid. She was on Friends when she was little.
Oh, wow. I love her. I don't know her, but I love her very much. I'm a huge fan.
She and I played family members.
I know. I love your show.
You saw it?
I've seen every episode.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay. Mae Whitman is everything you would want her to be. She was the best actor in the cast and made my 8 years there the most joyful. She is a rainbow of a human being. Now, I want to ask you a question that just popped up. This is not pre-planned. Have you ever been speaking to somebody and you notice that they have gone catatonic? And that's a sincere question.
What?
Will you direct this answer directly into Monica's eyes?
Wait, do you think I'm going catatonic or something?
No, I think your eyes could hypnotize somebody. I've been staring at them in a close-up for 6 years. And now that I see them with no barrier between me and them, I'm getting a little nervous. I'm going to go catatonic.
They are incredibly mesmerizing.
Like almost, I'd say the Cobra with its back up. That level of mesmerized where I'm like, whoa.
That's really nice.
Okay, since we're flattering, my wife insisted I pass this on to you. You have her favorite face she's ever seen on TV or films, and she thinks you're a rabbit. She'll pause, and it could be the most gruesome scene in an episode of Handmaids. And she'll go, look at that little rabbit's face. I could just stare at. She's obsessed with your face.
That is so nice.
I mean, we all are. We all are.
Yeah.
I don't want to rule us out of that, but
I'm
yes.
a big fan of hers as well. I loved her last show so much. I ate it up. The Netflix show.
Do you like her face? I guess because when I pass back this compliment, do you have any
I adore
feedback?
her face.
Okay, you adore
Who
her
doesn't adore her face, though? I mean, she's just the most lovely, funny.
She's a good one.
Seems like a wonderful person.
Should we get her up here?
I think we should get her up.
Rob, bring her in. Okay, so we got the face thing. Oh, that's not shocking. We got the face thing out of the way. Your eyes are really bonkers.
That's really nice. Thank you.
It's really true.
I had no idea where that was going. Did you?
I
was very
know. I
confused.
was also confused, but I'm glad we got there.
You were fearful I meant you're boring.
Yeah, no, I just
You
didn't
were.
understand the question.
Yeah. It was an abstract question. Okay, you were born in 82 in Los Angeles, and your parents are musicians?
Yeah. First 5 years were in the Valley, then Laurel Canyon for like 13 years, and then Sherman Oaks for a few years. And then I moved to New York when I was 19.
Okay, so Lookout Mountain?
Wonderland.
Made famous by the gruesome murder.
Oh.
Yeah. How close were you to that house? Did you know about
Doors
it?
down.
Get out. It involved our man, the guy with the big dong, the porn star.
That's what Boogie Nights was sort of based on, right? Something to do with that incident, I think.
Absolutely.
One of the scenes in Boogie Nights.
What was his name? Rob, do you know? The very famous?
Ron Jeremy?
No, pre-Ron Jeremy. The first, I think, globally popular male porn star.
I'm not sure if I ever knew the names of the parties involved.
Okay, that's very
As a
fair.
child.
Yeah.
But there was also something else up the street. Something bad happened at another house. It was a bit of a storied avenue.
Wait, when you say murder in the hills, I think people would assume you're talking about the Manson murder.
No. John John Holmes. I knew it was a John.
Holmes.
So John Holmes, he became a drug addict. He got ensnared in some kind of crime escapade. It ended up at a house on Wonderland. Here's what I think it is. I think John Holmes robbed someone's house, and then I think the retribution was going to the house he was staying at, and they killed a bunch of people inside the house, which was just in the shadow of your childhood home.
Yes.
At what age?
I was not there at the time. It was many years prior, I believe, because I was there late 80s to, whatever 13 years later is.
How's it changed? So I only know Laurel Canyon 97 and beyond. Was it Singers in the Canyon,
Yes.
Crosby, Stills, and Nash vibe?
Yes, and not fancy. It even got fancier over the years when we were there, which is kind of why we left, because it was getting fancier and we were not.
Pricier.
Yeah, exactly. And my house actually isn't even there anymore, but my brother's 18 months younger than me, so we're super close. And we had 2 backyards, which sounds, again, fancy. We loved it as kids because one of the backyards was completely dirt.
Oh.
Which was fantastic.
Like this yard?
Yes.
Sure,
Like
sure.
this, fantastic for kids, and had a swing set. I mean, it was just great.
You could get feral in that yard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the other one was cement, but you could ride your bike around. But just in little circles, just kind of this little path.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, and then there were hills, so you could climb up the hills and you could go around. It was all very scrappy, but it was kind of
Wildlife,
great for kids.
you got coyotes back there. You got Oh, sure.
Lost a couple cats.
Couple cats.
Yeah,
went
we
down.
just learned
Okay.
that they do, in fact, attack humans, even though everyone pretends like they don't.
We just interviewed someone who was attacked recently.
Really?
But in Canada, for what that's worth.
Canadian coyote, but still.
That's a whole different category of coyote, guys.
Not
That does not
polite
apply
like
here.
the Canadian citizens. They went the other way. You must be friends with Erica Christensen.
Yes. Her and I haven't seen each other in years because I live in New York. She lives in LA, but we text every once in a while.
Oh, you currently live in New York.
Yeah.
How long have you lived there?
20 years.
Wow.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the fantasy I made up in my head. You too?
Inappropriate. We didn't know that.
Monica's trying to turn your question
That's
into
right.
an inappropriate question after her inappropriate question.
Yeah, I'm trying to rope you into some inappropriateness.
Yes.
Oh, help me. I love getting inappropriate. Wait, because I use the word fantasy?
No, just because you didn't know that she lived in New York.
Oh.
It's not going to work.
It didn't work.
What
It didn't
happened?
work.
It's a nice try. It's a nice
You know, this
try.
is my ultimate
do my
trigger
best.
of not understanding what everyone's
She's trying
joking.
to say that you didn't know something about me. And so it was an inappropriate question because she asked 2 inappropriate questions.
with
That's right.
unknown answers.
That's
Yes.
right.
Okay.
But it didn't work.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It didn't work because it was appropriate.
It was a totally appropriate. Like,
Yeah.
why would he know how
So
many
it was a
years I lived in
stretch.
New York?
It
Well,
was
he
a
did research on you.
It was a stretch.
badly.
In your personal column, it does not report where you live. And I knew you grew up in LA.
Yeah.
And I think it's much more common for people who grow up in New York to end up in LA
Oh,
than
for
vice
sure.
versa.
I did the total opposite. So when everyone was coming to LA, early 20s and doing pilot season, I did the complete opposite and went the other way and went to New York. I had already been on West Wing as a reoccurring, and I wasn't on it for a season. So I went to New York, and that's where I actually got the only pilot I've ever gotten, which was Mad Men.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I
we're
did the
there.
total opposite, and it worked out great.
They cast that out of New York.
We shot the pilot in New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're 8 when you first start acting professionally, I think is your first credit. I can't imagine they gave you a lot
6
to
or
do.
So, I think.
Oh, even younger. Okay, this gives me great comfort because you were on Sam Jones's show Off Camera, and I love that show.
I love that show.
Isn't it wonderful?
He's so great.
He is.
It's one of my favorite shows I've done.
Same. And instrumental in me wanting to do this. I was like, I
Mm.
like to talk for an hour and not try to convince you of who I am in 3.5 minutes. That was the first time I was like, oh, if you watch that and you liked it, you might actually like me, not like the comedy bit I did.
Totally. And he's super educated about the work and he focuses on the right things.
Okay, so what I loved about it is I have no training other than the groundlings. I guess it's half and half. The people you end up working with have had training and haven't had. But of course, because I've had none, I always am prepared to have a chip on my shoulder about it. I don't even know if I do as much as like I'm prepared if someone comes at me to tell you why I think it's horseshit, even though no one asked me and no one's coming at me.
Judging you for not having had training.
That's right. And not having maybe an approach that I could articulate. Now, granted, I think I could articulate it at this point, but to hear you on Sam Jones go, I have no technique or training. I'm doing the same thing I did when I was 10 years old on a set. I just have never stopped doing an instinctual version of acting that I could do when I was 10. For someone as unbelievably talented as you, and now at this point acclaimed, say like, yeah, I don't have any of that stuff is so comforting.
Well, I hope so, because I'm a big believer in whatever works for you. Clearly, being a method actor is working for Daniel Day-Lewis.
It seems to be.
And I would advise him to continue.
Yeah.
You know, it's working out really well. It's just not the way that I learned how to do it. Even to this day, I was just talking about this yesterday about this next project that I'm doing. I don't want to answer a lot of questions about it beforehand. I don't want to come up with a big backstory. I don't want to make decisions about things and then I have to stick to them. I would prefer to be able to do 10 things when the camera's rolling. And that's just me. That's just how I think I act best.
Yeah.
Like that gets the best performance out of me.
Yeah.
And if you talk about any like Stanislavski, I don't know it.
Right.
Yeah. Thank God you're not method.
I don't think I'd be alive. I don't think I would have made it.
No.
I don't really know how you made it. I'm going to just earmark that. I don't know how you made it without that. I mean, truly, I think that's what we talk about most when we're watching the show is like, how does one spend 12 hours, 16 hours of their day, 5 days a week in this?
Also, we watched them all together.
Yeah, it's a group show for
it's a
us.
group show.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So we're about to resume, funny
Yeah.
enough. Yes, we'll be back.
Very excited.
Okay, similarly, I do the best when I am totally off kilter. There needs to be chaos. I need to be curious if something is happening correctly or incorrectly. And then in scrambling to catch up, some realness in me takes over.
That's so interesting.
I feel like you're saying something similar. Like, I'm open to all things happening right now. And I also trust the right thing will end up in an edit, I guess.
Yes, exactly. See, I love that energy. And I think that's super exciting. And I actually think it's not an easy thing to do because you have to have a lot of confidence in yourself and in the actors around you and in the director that you're not going to be made to look like a fool. So I actually think it takes a lot of bravery to not plan every single moment. And I remember working with Michael Stuhlbarg. He's one of my absolute favorites.
What's the thing I would have seen? I
Oh my
hate saying that
God.
because this is meet people with me at the airport. What's the thing I've seen
What did
you
I see
in?
you in?
What did I just see you in?
I don't even know if I can
Oh, A Serious Man.
call me by your name.
Oh,
Yes,
wow.
yes. He's in something right. Yeah, that
And
guy
it's-
is a gangster.
And he does so much preparation. But in the end, when you're rolling, it's all loose. It's total chaos. And he thrives in the chaos and he loves it. And I think that's actually hard to do.
You have to pay extra close attention to your scene partner because you're
Yeah.
kind of looking to them. They threw the fastball. I got to, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's why I don't understand figuring out too much before you do the scene, because generally that's by yourself, unless you, I guess you're rehearsing or something.
Right. Or you have an acting coach with you on set or something.
Which
Seems to
people
work for-
have,
yeah.
totally. Seems to work. Practicing and stuff seems to work for people.
For a certain ilk.
No, but then you get stuck. You can get stuck in one way of doing it.
Well, yeah, but also you don't have the other actor in front of you or actors
Yes.
who have their own set of things that they've
Exactly.
decided that they're going to do and worked out with their acting coaches. And so now they're throwing this shit at you. And I just prefer to be in a place where you can react in the moment to something.
Now, I had a really cool experience where I was in a movie and there were all these courtroom scenes and we were all together all the time. And I got to watch Duvall have these big monologues. Then I got to hear Robert Downey Jr. make all these big monologues.
What movie was this?
The Judge.
This is
This
an
movie,
that was
The
an
Judge.
inappropriate question.
Inappropriate,
Yay.
wasn't it? Yay. You're
No, what would have been
welcome.
great is if I said The Judge and you said, oh, you were in that? Now that's where
Now
it would go off
that's
the rails.
inappropriate.
Still wouldn't really care. But to watch Duvall do monologues, then to watch Robert Downey do monologues, because it's a courtroom scene, right? So everyone's going to do monologues in front of you. It's so cool. And then Billy Bob Thornton's doing monologues in front of you. And then Vincent D'Onofrio's over my left shoulder. And then Jeremy Strong's there. And so Jeremy Strong is as method as it gets. I didn't meet Jeremy Strong on the movie. That's one thing.
There you go.
Then you got Duvall, who he can't say anything that doesn't sound perfectly authentic. You can do extra takes, but there's really no reason. And then you got Robert Downey Jr.'s got earpiece in. So he's like us. He wants chaos. He wants to be hearing this in his mind for the first time before it comes out of his mouth. Yet he somehow can improv with the earpiece in. And then you're watching Billy Bob and he's just kind of doing his. And you go, oh yeah, everyone here is like got this, their own little unique approach. And by the way, everyone's great. There's no winner.
It's working for everybody.
Yeah.
That's how they've figured out how to get the most authentic performance. People ask me acting advice, and I'm always like, just figure out what works for you and do that. There's no right or wrong way of doing this. There's no right or wrong way of saying a line. There really isn't. There's just not being authentic and truthful. That's it.
I think because it is so gray, because there are a million ways to do it, people feel like I need a rule book or I need parameters, or else it feels scary to people.
Totally. I totally get that. Sometimes you need to have some sort of thing that you can follow that makes you feel safe. That's what I'm saying. If that's what you need to do.
Exactly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Although, when I'm having these arguments in my head that have never happened in 22 years of being on sets, let me just give you my argument. When I'm being mean, too. Okay, you want to hear it?
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Well, it's not even mean. It's judgmental.
Okay.
There is some part of me, some dark part of me, that thinks our job is so silly. It's preposterous.
Ridiculous.
But your
It's a
job
fucking
is
joke.
not.
In general, it's silly.
I mean, it's pretend.
you make
I'm
a
not-
silly amount of money
yeah, you're right.
to work with 600 other people on a pretend story.
Most circus people had to live in the dirt and they had to travel town to town. It was a beatdown. It was a beatdown because you got to do this stupid fun thing for a job. But something flipped and now you could be in the circus and you have a trailer and someone drove you to work. We have some awareness of this. When they yell action and you go, I'm not going to do it. Call Mike. Cut. Great. And then you go, wow, that was my job today. You know, you got lucky. So there's a guilt. Now, I don't even know that any of this is in the consciousness. I think this is like somewhere in the back of their mind. So there's some level of guilt, like, I don't know if I really deserve all this. So, you know, I'm going to work extra hard at it to
that's
justify it because it's silly, but I'm going to work my ass off at it. I think that can be a part of a motivation for some people that I argue with in my head.
I can see that. I understand that judgment.
You're not co-signing, you just heard it and you understand it,
You
and I
get
appreciate it.
I get it. As a person who doesn't work very hard at acting,
It's a crazy.
I sometimes feel like when I see someone like Michael Stuhlbarg pull out the book and it's just highlighted and got sticky thingies and all different colors and it's gigantic at the read through, and I have to go borrow a notepad and a pencil because I didn't bring anything.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I should be working a little harder.
It
but then I
is
forget.
working for you. You do not mess with it.
Don't monkey with it.
Did you tell your parents, I want to start auditioning, I want to get into this? Or was someone like, your eyes are so mesmerizing, come in for this
I'm
audition?
catatonic. Come audition for me.
Once I come out of this ketosis, can you?
Coma. As far as I remember, and it has been told to me by my mom because I was young and I kind of have a really bad memory. Do you have a bad memory?
No, Kristen does. and that's a good
This is a lot of the great actors we talk to have shitty memories.
But then they're so good at scripts. It's like they've given up
It's a
part of their
different
memory.
Part of your, it's exactly.
Yeah.
I think you spend that part of your mind on that, and
Yes.
then you don't remember what happened to you.
I think y'all's brains are physically different because also Monica and I will be shocked, right? So 2 years has gone by since the last season of Game of Thrones. We started the episode. And Kristen, who doesn't know what house she woke up in this morning, literally, sometimes, will go, oh, Baratheon just blah, blah. Like, her memory for story is shocking. Is your memory for story shocking?
Yes, I can remember takes. I can remember anything connected with work as a actor or producer or director. I'm very, very good at that. But my own life,
Who cares?
There's a sacrifice.
yeah. So I was dancing. I was doing ballet from when I was 5. And as the story goes, I was at my school, which was in the Valley, my ballet school in the Valley. And we did Sound of Music because that's classic ballet that everyone does. And I was playing the littlest one. And an agent came and said, does she want to audition? And I guess my mom asked me and I said yes. And then I just started.
Wow.
And I'm sure I didn't like get anything for a while, and then started to like kind of get a commercial here and there, and then just kind of kept doing it. I was never a moment that I was like, I want to be an actor, mother.
Right.
Mother, I have something to tell you.
Mama.
For some actors we have on who started very young, they do have that story. They're like, there was no option, there was no choice. I told my parents I'm doing it, and that's that.
Yeah.
And then there's this story too where you almost like fell in.
Kind of just happened.
Same with the acting technique. There's
Yeah.
like a trillion roads that lead to the exact same evening that you weren't at last night.
Yes, exactly. I don't like doing anything else, and I don't think I ever liked doing anything
I don't
else.
think you'd be good at anything else.
I'm not good at anything
given
else.
this memory
That's
and the
not true.
preparedness
It's
with the
so
script.
true, though. Given my lack of dedication to doing any sort of work or preparation whatsoever, I don't think I would be good at anything else. I just kept doing it, and then I was doing ballet, and then stopped doing ballet and kept doing the acting instead.
I wonder if your acting approach is in any way in opposition to the dancing, because the dancing is 1,000% technique and rote and practice and misery.
You hit the nail on the head.
Nice.
Damn it, we're getting somewhere.
Look
Okay.
at that.
Oh my
now
God.
we're getting down
Okay.
to
Okay,
it.
let's
I'm going to take
go.
my shoes off now.
Just one.
That's kind of what I do because I only bring up the left foot. Okay. So, yes, you're doing this thing that is really, really rigorous and really demanding and requires a ton of discipline. And you liked it, or did you burn out with it? You didn't just stop doing it. Something maybe.
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it, and I still love ballet. But when I was 15, there's kind of a choice of you're either going to go for it and you're going to do it and you're going to go to the school year round and then you're going to join a company, which is so crazy.
So
Now I
intense.
just turned 40 and I'm like, I cannot believe this was my life decision at 15. I was
Yeah.
a baby. I talked to my mom and I made this really mature decision with her help, which I'm so grateful for now. I remember saying to her, you know, I could dance, and if it goes well, and if I don't get injured, I'll make it to 30, 35.
Yeah.
And if I act, I could potentially do it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And thank God I was able to
Yeah.
somehow figure that out. I love ballet. I didn't leave it because I didn't love it. I left it because I couldn't imagine not acting,
Yeah.
but I
yeah.
could imagine not dancing.
Mm.
It's a very private, very self-disciplined
Mm-hmm.
art form where you have to be the one who's looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, that works, that doesn't work. And you do that from 5 years old. It's a really interesting observation, though, that with that level of rigor and self-discipline in ballet, makes so much sense that with acting, I'm like,
And that it would be so appealing.
yeah.
We had Sean White on, and he kind of hit us with this really fascinating aspect of his life that added up through luck to what he became, which is his first love was skateboarding. And so he spent most of his summer skateboarding. He then would snowboard in the winter, and he went back and forth to these sports. So when he would go over to snowboarding, he would look at this and go, this is so easy. The thing's strapped to your feet. My main thing, the board flies off. So he had this weird confidence. And then when he went back to skateboarding, he's like, going 10 feet on a skateboard is not scary at all. So they just kept upping each other.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Ballet was hard and ballet took a lot of work, and acting wasn't like easy in the sense of, oh, I was just like getting every role. Like there were years when I didn't work, and every actor knows you don't get way more than you get.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was easier in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And you had that juxtaposition. You could say in the moment, like, oh, that other thing's harder.
Oh, totally.
That's helpful.
I would imagine it gave you a good attitude on set, because if I can say there's a downside of acting, it would be like the hours are really long. They are abnormally long. I've had other jobs. Additionally, you're often freezing. Most workplaces, you're not asked to be in a cold river naked.
No.
There are some underwater welding situations, but you have wetsuits. So the only two things are really the hours and then how physically uncomfortable you sometimes have to be for the job.
Yep.
But again, both things by comparison to toe points with bloody, ripped up toenails, not bad.
And injuries that affect you for your whole life, the stress and the competition and all of that. Then again, it's such a beautiful art form. I totally get how that's all completely worth it. Like for
Yeah.
athletes, you know?
Yeah.
I get that the work that you put in for those moments on stage with the orchestra when you are just the most beautiful creature, I get that it's worth it.
I'm very close to getting whose voice you have.
Is it Elisabeth Moss's voice? Is that?
No, it's the woman from Handmaid's Tale. Have you seen that?
Oh, I'm gonna start it.
Yeah.
I'm
Don't.
gonna-
It's a bummer. Don't do it. It's a bummer.
Really
If you're
dark.
going to do it with friends. Like, do it in a group.
Okay.
So that no one kills themselves
I've
afterwards.
never heard of a group watch of Handmaid's Tale.
It was an accident. We had a nightly show always, and then
Yeah.
we probably were just like, okay, what's next? Oh, we heard this is good.
Yeah.
And then it became a thing.
Because it's so sort of dark and disturbing. I just can't imagine a sort of bunch of people sitting around.
It's great, actually, because the two great visceral cinema experiences are comedies and horror movies. Like, those are things that get elevated exponentially by the shared experience. And Handmaid's is very much a horror movie
Completely.
show. So to be all 8 of us together and be like, oh my God, like, that's so rewarding.
I totally get that. It's when we watch the show on a big screen, like at a premiere or if we have a finale event, it's so fun because it's like a sporting event.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so intense.
Boos and, cheers and I get that. Never mind. I take it back.
Well, and also it's great. You see this Aunt Lydia scene, and then the code in our house is PRQ, which is pause real quick. So someone will go PRQ. So you got to pause it. And everyone just vents about Aunt Lydia, this fucking bitch. And then Kristen's like, PRQ. Look at her teeth. It's her teeth. She's a rabbit. Look at her teeth right there. She's the cutest rabbit. Okay, PRQ. You PRQ.
It's great. I wish I could be a fly on the wall.
It's so fun. Sometimes there are laser pointers.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, that's mostly for the hair police.
Yeah.
Kristen's main preoccupation is like, who has extensions in and how bad did they do blending it? She's really critiquing hair and makeup.
Yeah.
Not the actor. It's never like there's a pointer going like, they need to
that
tighten
face.
up that tricep. That's not happening. It's always like, boom, see where her hair stops? And she's furious at the hair department.
Yeah, it's because we know.
Yeah.
Yes.
We hate when it looks bad on us, and we've all had the experience where it didn't work. And so now we're hyper aware of it.
The funny thing is, you can't make her happy. Monica and I will both go like, oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
And then
Even though
she keeps railing.
Never see it.
No, but when she points it out, see? Yeah, that's very obvious. See, what should it? And then she just keeps going as if she's still pleading her case. It's like, yes, it's not a great job. And we all acknowledge
can we resume? Because this is a really intense scene.
But she needs another 3-4 minutes to work through it.
By the way, I am going to be so conscious of this now when we make season 6, and I am going to be so hyper aware.
I want you to think of her.
I'm telling you, I will. Yeah. Because I'm now going to literally be like, this is going to work for Kristen.
Kristen is going to see
this.
this.
It's not going to work.
Can I tell you how serious she is about it? If you offered her a job just doing final looks on you, she'd go up to Canada and just make sure you're tight before. I mean, that's her level of commitment to this.
I love it so much.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
This is also a high-risk thing. You know when you know somebody that someone else works with, but you have no idea how they feel about that person, but your assumption is, I bet they love this person because I love this person. Yeah. Warren Littlefield.
Oh, is he not the most special?
So, Monica, you listened to the Will and Grace episode of Revisionist History, didn't you?
Not yet.
Fucking
I know.
fuck.
Sorry.
He's a producer. He was also a producer of Fargo, which we loved.
Love.
Simultaneously to being a producer of Handmaids. I had a project I had written that he was producing. That was my only experience with him. We'd meet for coffee, then we'd go someplace and talk to people. But I found him to be perhaps the best bedside manner I've ever seen in a producer, which is he makes you feel good. And when he has a note, he has a solution, and he's a fucking genius. And I was bowled over because I'm the writer. I don't want to hear anyone's opinion. I'm very bullheaded about writing. And he would say something. I'd be like, holy shit, you really just kind of solved something that's been driving me nuts for 3 months that I didn't want to admit was wrong with this project.
Him having the best bedside manner is exactly right. I started with him as a producer on the show on season 1, and then I became an executive producer on season 2. Largely thanks to Warren, who really advocated for me. I wasn't supposed to contractually. It was like season 3. And he felt like, hey, it's probably important. We have a female executive producer in the top, couple producers on the show. But everything that I have learned about bedside manner, how to note, how to deal with something that you don't want to deal with is from him. I mean, he is an absolute master. And it doesn't mean that he cannot be tough if he wants to be.
He's not going to let shitty story get by him. He has high standards.
Really high standards.
Yeah.
But I've been on calls with him where we've had to have difficult conversations with people. And somehow you come off the call, no matter what he's saying to you, somehow you feel so good. If you ever get fired, you want to be fired by Warren Littlefield. Like you want him to give you bad news.
Does he give compliments, or how is he doing it?
I can tell you how I feel is that what is clear is that he is an ally to you and an ally to the project you guys are making. So what's clear is that his commitment is to this shared thing you guys both love. And it's about making that thing better. There's something about the way he can depersonalize everything. And you see how pure his interest is in making something great. and beautiful. Did that answer it or not sufficiently?
Yeah, it was just
that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
I know
It's
what
not
that look was.
personal.
Is why are you answering when she's here? And
No,
you're
but
right.
but
I got it. It took me 1 second. God damn it! You're right. You're
I
right.
liked
You're
hearing
absolutely
his
right.
answer because I actually think that's correct.
That look was like, I didn't ask you that question. Okay.
Like, I already knew the answer. I just wanted to hear what I was going to
So
say.
embarrassing.
No, this is what we do. We embarrass ourselves
know.
here. We're vulnerable.
You're no Warren Littlefield. I feel pretty burned by that.
That's why I asked. I need a better
opposite.
approach.
Yes. I liked hearing his answer because I think it's really true.
Oh,
But if you would want to hear my
Yes,
answer.
I do.
No, I covered it. You're fine. Next thing. Let me tell you about another thing I did.
Let me tell you something else I think about you. It's someone you know.
Oh my God.
He depersonalizes it, though. That's exactly right. He focuses on the creative. He focuses on story. He focuses on the goal,
Yeah.
which is making what we all want to make. You know, we all want to make something good, which is something I feel like everyone sort of forgets in the drama of making a show. You know, you all forget that you're actually trying to do the same thing, which is make a good show.
Yeah.
And he never loses sight of that. I actually think that was a very good, astute explanation
Thank
of
you.
Warren.
Me too.
And I
That was
apologize.
great.
And I
you don't have to apologize. It's good because there's a lot of people who aren't in this industry, but who are bosses or who are trying to have people under them. And it's very hard to figure out how to communicate effectively.
Well, first, let's acknowledge that the activity is a minefield because the thing that's going to receive notes isn't the piece of metal I cut and you measure it and say, well, it's not 90 degrees, it's 87 degrees. We got to recut that piece of metal. That's not what happens. It's like you offered a piece of yourself and I go, that was not right for this.
But I will say, I think anyone who cares about their work at all does that. They make it their identity.
I agree with you because yes,
makes
the
sense.
person who cut it at 87 degrees is like, oh, well, fuck, I fucked that up
It's
for
like,
sure.
this is my whole life.
But there's an added layer, which is the piece of metal being measured is also the human being who made it. So
Totally.
it's-
I agree. Yes.
And often writers take stories literally from their life.
Yes.
That's not working for us. You're like, but that's what happened.
Or even worse, like that's not saying heartbreak to me, or that's not like the emotion. Well, no, I actually experienced this, and it was this way. No, not really, not
Or,
in this show.
God, that character seems like he's just kind of an asshole. And you're like, that's the one based on me.
That's the me in the story.
The biggest word that Warren taught me was the word feedback. And I love what he does because he gets on a call, and even if the feedback is maybe not positive, he has this way of saying, we're going to offer you some feedback that is just, you feel grateful that you're being offered this sort of chance to hear this perspective.
Yeah.
So this was the question that I had planned on asking anyways, but it's exactly what Monica's kind of asking as well, which is, I'm curious what your approach is when you're directing, because you did 3 last year. I don't know how many all told you did this season. I know the first 2
First
are
2
yours.
in the finale.
Girl.
Man.
That's where they send the heavy hitters. They bring Tommy Schlamme in on West Wing for the opener and the closer.
There were definitely times that I was like, I can't believe I'm directing the finale of The Handmaid still.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Because I know, having done a lot of television, that yes, this is where they bring in the real directors.
Yeah. In general, shows know what their first episode is and they know what their finale is. And they're working all year to fill in the gap between those two. So that's the episode that someone's had 6 months to think about and plan and everything else. And they give that to someone they really trust.
They also have sometimes a bit more time attached to them.
More money.
And more money.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
responsibility overall is larger. And this season was our biggest season we've ever done on paper. And it was the biggest opening we'd ever done and the biggest finale we'd ever done in the history of the show. Hence my comment, I cannot believe I'm directing the finale.
Did you have to pause before you accepted that? Were you like, can I do this?
I did actually take a second. Warren called me and I was not expecting that to be what the phone call was about.
He doesn't call you Elizabeth, does he?
Calls me Lizzie. Everyone calls me Lizzie. You guys have to call me Lizzie.
Oh,
Lizzie. What's
this
his
is
voice?
fun. We got
Lizzie?
invited to a nickname.
Okay.
It's like a cartoonish
Yes,
version.
it's almost Kermit the Froggy, which helps again with the delivery. Lizzie,
No,
no, it's really Kermit the Froggy.
that actually just is Kermit.
You're gonna direct the finale and the opener.
I would
That's
not have
Kermit.
hesitated if Kermit had called
I
me.
know. You're like, are you going to be there, Kermit? fuck it, I'll do it. I don't
You know
care if
what?
it sucks.
Show's going in a weird direction. I like it. And I just kind of thought about it for a second, talked to my mom. Is this something that I feel like I can legitimately pull off and do and honor and be good at? I thought, sure, why not? Let's give it a shot.
Yeah, fuck it.
And you did it.
Only
Oh
live
my
once.
God.
My question was going to be, how do you talk to actors?
Mm.
What's your approach to talk to actors when you're directing?
Wow.
Don't even worry.
We're getting
This house-
bulldozed.
That sounds like something that wasn't planned out
There's a
there by
lot.
them.
Yeah, that was my.
Oh, there's a dust cloud.
Hold on one second.
See, it does sound like something bad happened.
Oh no, we're good. So what they've got is I think that'd be like a 10-yard truck they brought in, and they're filling it with rubble of the gate they knocked down. So don't worry, it's gonna happen repeatedly.
It's all on track.
Yeah,
It's all on track.
This is going exactly as planned. How do you like being spoken to by directors?
I'm open to pretty much anything except for, this might sound silly, but except for being insulted. Every actor, every person, really. I mean, we don't thrive on criticism or feeling like we're not doing a good job or feeling like they have a problem with what you're doing. So the only thing I can't handle is if someone comes up to me and is like, I just am not, I don't know, I'm not, and I'm like, okay, well, this is very much not helpful. Everything else I'm fine with. I'm totally fine with if you want me to go faster. I'm totally fine if you want to have a 30-minute conversation about the deeper meaning of the line. Whatever you want to do, I'm happy to kind of go through that process, but all still on track out there.
Yeah. With any luck, everything will be gone when we exit here. We will just enter a barren
The
field.
whole city's on fire. It's just some sort of apocalypse.
We won't have known or cared.
No.
The podcast went great, though.
was great.
No one's
Wait.
left to listen to it.
We're the musicians on the deck of the Titanic as it's going down. We're just we're like so sucked into the song. We're like, fuck, let's keep hit that riff again, Mike.
Gotta keep morale high. So yeah, that's how I like to be directed. I don't care really very much. You can try anything except just try to keep my confidence high.
And what about when you're directing actors? What's your approach?
So the number one thing I learned about directing actors was from Jane Campion by watching her direct actors. Calmness is absolutely essential, creating a calm
She
environment.
directed the piano.
Yeah, and she also directed that newer movie. What's it called?
Power of the
Netflix.
Dog.
Power of the Dog.
Yes, exactly.
POD.
P-
POTD. Everyone's calling it POTD. You
That
guys are
was
like,
Callie's campaign, so she got close with her. My best friend. Oh. She works at Netflix, and she's in the marketing department, and she got very close with
she has
Jane
an
during
enormous head,
Power
we
of the
learned
Dog.
yesterday.
Yes, it's an enormous head.
Deceptively enormous. It doesn't look big.
Her hair
When
is
you get a
great.
tape measure around it, back up.
really?
Extra large.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly, I have a small head. It looks big and it's small.
How big is your head?
I'd like to think just an average.
It looks
Pretty
average.
normal, yeah.
I think it's on the smaller side.
Do you wear a small hat?
No, but that's because I don't like things to be tight on my head, especially like these. And I have small ears, so these always sort of crush my. But anyway, it's all right. I'll be fine.
Should we scrap this?
We should probably call it. So she's brilliant at many, 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 many things. But I think what she's really brilliant at is directing different kinds of actors. She'll have a Nicole Kidman or a Holly Hunter or somebody extremely experienced. And then she'll have somebody who's like their first job. And the way that she adapts herself to the different people was what I learned from her. That's how I try to approach directing actors. I think the number one thing is to figure out what their process is.
Yeah.
I'm lucky on Handmaids because I've worked with them for 5 years, so I know what their processes are.
Yeah.
I get to cheat and just sort of like slide in. And I also know when they have worked with directors and they haven't
Yeah, yeah.
liked what's happened.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So I know what not to do as well because I've heard all the other stuff. So I like to make sure that I'm just handling the person in front of me and I'm talking to them, and everyone's different. You have to know how this person likes to be directed.
Parenthood had 14 cast members, so we'd be in the makeup trailer. There might be 7 of us there, and we had guest directors every other episode. We'd all be comparing whether we liked or hated this person, right?
Right.
You would think there'd be consensus. And what I learned in that makeup trailer is like, oh yeah, me and 6 other people love the same kind of direction, and then 7 of them hate that kind. So you really can't win if you're a director if you're only going to have a singular approach to it. Some people want a lot of work. They want to hear cut. That's great. Let's try X, Y, and Z. They want a challenge. I just want you to say you're great and build up my confidence and turn me loose and hopefully trust me and then give me some room and let's see if we can get something. And then if we don't at the end of that experiment, please come in and tell me. I want a little safe playground for a minute before you
I do think that's a thing that applies to everybody. Let them do their thing first.
give them a chance.
My hackles go up a little bit when I start getting notes early in rehearsal. I also don't do it in rehearsal. I kind of just phone it in a little bit.
As you should.
Well, so we're not rolling. So for me, I'm like, why would I do something and then I'm chasing the dragon and trying to get that back and, you know, it doesn't work for me. It's like a thought out thing. It's not an accident. And so I'm always like, I'm not doing it yet. Like, don't give me a note. I'm not doing it.
Mom.
Stop. I'm not actually doing it, obviously.
It's not how I'm going to do my hair.
I literally will be like, I'm going to be better. Okay, I promise.
Since you have transitioned behind the first curtain of being a producer, which you get to watch people's auditions, you are a part of casting, that becomes a whole eye-opening experience, right? On the other side?
It really does.
And then when you're directing, it opens your eyes again. So I'm curious what things you've picked up that you wish you could go back in time and tell 17-year-old Elisabeth who just came off of West Wing. Like, what would you say?
First of all, auditions, you're either right or you're wrong. It's not really anything that you can do. When you're watching an audition, you kind of know in the first 5-10 seconds whether or not this is going to be something that might be right. It's so little to do with you. It's actually silly.
Yeah.
So that would have been nice to know. But the second thing is I am a much nicer and more collaborative actress with directors after I started directing. I used to be pretty damn collaborative and nice. You know, like even if somebody gives me a note I didn't agree with, I'd be like, all right, I don't know, I'll try it. Maybe it's right. I didn't think of it. You never know. It might work. I'm not precious about it. But now, because I know and understand deeply the horrifying position of standing there as a director when an actor says to you that they don't want to do the note or they don't like it or they don't say they think you're stupid, but they look at you like you're so
crazy.
stupid. And why would you think of that? And are you just an idiot? You don't know the show. You don't know my character. They look at you like that and you want to die. You just want to crawl back to your monitor in your chair and just be like, I should never have ever tried to speak to you like you are beautiful and perfect always. So now I know that horrifying feeling where you feel so stupid. And now whenever a director comes up to me and gives me a note, I am 99.9% going to be like, thank you very much. That was great. Let's give that a shot. I do not contradict anymore.
Oh, that's lovely.
Do you feel like you're, in general, misunderstood? Do you think people think of you as just being like very heavy or
Traumatized.
dark? And you're like not. You're so like light and bubbly and fun and easy. And I could see walking in rooms and being like, everyone thinks.
I definitely think that's like the number one misconception about me is that I am that dark person. But I get it. It's not crazy. Why wouldn't you think that? Like, that's literally all I do and all you see me do. So why wouldn't you think I was super dark and serious? But it is funny to me because I'm so the opposite of that. And so not, and I don't take acting seriously at all.
It's so hilarious.
I love actors though. The respect that I have for actors grew so much after I started directing because I realized how good they make you look as a director. There's a scene that you don't, you're concerned about or you think, oh, I don't know, is this going to work? And then this actor, Ann Dowd or Bradley Whitford, Yvonne, whoever it is, comes in and delivers this performance and you're like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you so much. Thank you so, so much. So I actually appreciate acting more than I did before. But I still don't take it very seriously.
Well, we had him on.
Which
Love
Bradley.
Bradley
And it was so fun.
I love Brad.
And he told this great story about, I was talking about the pacing and how foreign it must be to be on something where it's so slow. And he said, I actually had been given the note like 2 or 3 times, like even slower. I don't want to misrepresent what he said, but in my memory, he said, I did one almost as a fuck you. Like I went so slow thinking like, well, I'll show you slow. And the director said, perfect. He goes, and it was in the show, and they were right. Like, that worked perfectly for the show. But he was almost doing it antagonistically slow.
Aggressively.
Aggressively
so
slow.
interesting. I love Brad so much, and I've known him since I was 17.
Yeah.
From West Wing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm his boss, which is very fun.
Yeah.
Love that
Very
full circle.
fun.
Love it.
Okay. You are in, and I'm going to make this statement. It's unverifiable. I guarantee I'm right. You are in a tight close-up longer than any actor before you, and probably any actor that comes after you.
Highly likely.
The amount of time we are up your fucking nose in that show is unparalleled. And so I have 3 questions about that. Well, first one's just a compliment. I've never watched someone's face from the nose up and seen them calculating, thinking, reacting, changing emotions, coming up with a game plan. It's insane how much I've gotten from watching your fucking little rabbit eyes, your hypnotic rabbit eyes.
Your stillness is so kinetic. It's like an oxymoron. Like you're still, but
Riveted.
so much is going on.
I've never
Stillness
seen.
being kinetic is such a cool thing to say.
Thank you. I just said it for the first time. I will be using it again.
Would it
I
be
will be
ironic
using
if
that
it's on if it's on your headstone? Is it ironic? Here lies with kinetic
Yes.
stillness.
That's right.
That's really nice, you guys.
The famous one is Brando adjusting his chair on the waterfront. As the very first time an actor ever let you know that they actually had to adjust their chair to get comfortable. Everything else in movies prior to that, actors sit down, it's perfect. The tea arrives, it's not too hot, it's not too cold. He's the first person to break that. And I've not ever gotten so much info from a human being's face prior to you, and it's worth pointing out. Number one.
That's really cool.
Number 2, how much of your thought is, fuck, I got to get almost directly in this lens, but I got to be a millimeter to the right so I'm not looking at the audience, which we have got to see once or twice on the show, which is really cool, but it's been used sparingly. When the camera's that close to your face, the difference between you're looking at the audience in the eyes and you're not is nothing.
Thank you for pointing that out. That is a total like inside baseball thing. And I love talking about this kind of thing.
Yeah.
As much as I think acting is silly, like I like it. I've never had to develop that skill before. You know how it is. You get like a mark and you
They put a little piece of tape on the corner of this box that surrounds the lens.
Which always just makes you feel like such an idiot. They're like, do you want a piece of tape?
Oh,
You
I'm always
stupid
I know.
actor.
I am always no. Even if I would benefit from it, I'm like, no, I don't want a piece of tape.
I say
I
no
feel like
all
a
the
circus
time.
animal.
I feel so insulted. No, I'm fine. I can remember where that is, I think. And then I don't, of
Yeah,
course,
exactly.
and mess it up. And I'm like, can I have the tape?
Is that tape still around?
How about that tape? It was a skill that I learned on the show because I had to develop it with the way that we shot the show, the way that we shot the show in season 1, which I'd never shot anything like that before. I never worked with a camera like that before. It's where I sort of fell in love with the camera in a way that I don't think I had before, and fell in love with cinematography in a way that I don't think I had before, just working that closely, quite literally, with the camera. So I had to develop it while doing the show. And now I'm pretty good at it. Now I know where it is. I know, depending on what lens we're on, I know what that means as far as like how far I can go and how close I need to go.
Yeah, because within this big piece of glass you're looking at,
Yeah.
if it's a wide angle lens, it's like a 17. Every piece of that glass is visible to the viewer. But if you're on a longer lens, like you're on 100, there's a little tinier aperture inside, like your pupil. And you can probably just dance to the right or left of that actual black hole.
That's what I do. Wow. I find the black hole and then I just go like a little bit off.
I do have a question. We're talking so much about Handmaid's Tale, obviously, but you've been on 2 other of like the biggest shows of all time, West Wing and Mad Men. It's crazy that we can kind of forget about that. Your track record's insane. Do you feel scared for the next one?
Not anymore, because I think maybe after Mad Men, I was a little not quite sure if I was expected to keep up this thing. I wasn't ever really that worried about it. I've never been somebody who's, this may shock you, but it put a lot of thought into my career or a lot of sort of planning. Like, I don't do that. You just try to do the best job you can and make something that you would want to watch, that you would like and you would think is either cool or funny or great or wild. And then that's it. That's kind of all you can do. There's also so much on television. I feel like there's no pressure because it's something for everyone.
There's good stuff.
Yeah.
The suitcase episode of Mad Men is one of the best episodes of TV ever.
Thank you.
It's so good.
It's my favorite.
Last question about the close-ups. I don't love looking at my face. I don't know many people that love looking at their face. I need to know, what is it like to see your fucking face under a microscope for 5 seasons?
It really makes you get over yourself. I make the craziest faces when I'm acting that are just not pretty faces, but I don't think about it. So I don't think about the face that I'm making. And then sometimes I'll be watching it and be like, Jesus Christ. What am I doing with my face? Like, literally, what am I doing with my face?
Yeah.
So I have no ego about it anymore. And I've had to watch myself so many times as a producer. You know, you watch all the cuts and you watch over and over.
And you have opportunities for vanity. Often
Absolutely.
there's 2 takes. Both are really good. You're going to make a decision. And in one you look cuter and one you look less cute. And you got to have some ethics in that choice.
I'm the person who, if I think I look too good, I get mad, especially on Handmaids. If there's a time when we've done my hair too well and maybe it hasn't settled yet, or my skin looks too nice, I'm like, no. We got to take this down.
Okay. Is it transferred into your real life?
Completely. I've never been a very vain person. I've never been a person who got by on my looks or got jobs because of the way I look. I was never the cheerleader type, which was interesting going out on auditions when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I was never, ever going to get certain kinds of jobs. I always was the one who was kind of doing something weird or dark and playing some sort of strange character. So because of that, I think it was actually really good in retrospect, because now I don't place a lot of value on certain things. That said, I love shopping. I love skincare.
Ooh, me too. Have you done the Vogue skincare video yet?
No.
You need to do that.
I
And so
don't-
do I.
We both
I don't
we
know
should
if
do
she
it
wants
together.
to star in it. I think she wants to maybe watch it.
I've watched most of
No,
them.
I want her to be.
I know, but
Why don't you do one of me?
I will. I'll record
And
you.
then we'll send it to Vogue.
Okay, great,
We'll say, we
great.
did it for you guys.
Exactly.
I love those videos. I love going to see my facialist, my esthetician. I love all that stuff. But more of a, I like it because it's fun for me as a girl and it feels good.
Yeah.
And I like when I look good.
This is the best version of myself. Not that I'm trying to be that girl, but I want to be the best version of me.
Exactly. And I don't really get the work and that confused.
Yeah.
Monica and I are really vain and we're very jealous.
Are you guys really vain?
I'm really vain.
I don't get that.
I mean, now that I'm a dad and all, it has dissipated quite a bit, but very conscious of how I look all the time. Embarrassingly so.
But I feel like knowing that already kind of puts you a step ahead of that.
It's not an arresting vanity, but I'm very vain.
It's an interesting sector of vanity. It's not like you're obsessed with how you look, so you're gonna alter the way you look, or you're
do
gonna like
almost
look in the
nothing, yeah.
mirror for 20 minutes. It is just looking in the mirror and being like, ugh, all right.
There we go.
That's what he's
I
talking
can't tell
about.
you how
that
many
we
times
do.
I leave a mirror and literally the last sentence I say out loud is like, oh, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Which is not like what someone who loved what they saw says when
Right.
they leave. Oh, just fuck it. Don't even think about it. I have to say that.
I see. I don't think that's vain. I think you're totally right.
We'd be so out on a limb to be like, we just look in the mirror and love it, or don't even care, don't pay any
it's not
attention.
like I didn't pick out an outfit for today
Exactly.
and put makeup on and put dry shampoo in my hair.
Yeah.
You put a little dry shampoo.
I did.
Oh, that's
I brushed
nice.
it and then
I
I
feel
put some dry shampoo in it.
Looks
That's
great.
Like I
flattering.
made an effort
Yeah,
because I believe in making some sort of effort.
An act of good faith. You don't want to insult us. I start to mess with my hair and I go, get real. It's never going to do the thing you want.
That's the thing too, is the older you get, the more you're just like, I think we're good.
I want to own, though, my own character defects and my insecurities, which is like, weirdly, that's why I've always been attracted to like working out. Because I
Right.
have a say so in how my body looks. It's a wrap on the face. Unless I'm going to get plastic surgery, which I'm not, it is what it is. But the body is malleable. I can change it. And I think I've always been very attracted to doing that.
And I don't think that's vanity. I think that's where you want to represent yourself. It makes you feel good about yourself.
Stay tuned for more Armchair Expert, if you dare.
Mad Men. So, very misogynistic world, Gilead, very misogynistic world. But the opposite, because now it's from the female perspective.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to tread into like super generic world that I'm sure every interview you do is trying to get you to comment on. You were part of the ultimate kind of boys club. And I love the show. I'm not critiquing it. But I'm stoked that you're exploring the same topic, but in the driver's seat. I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey because the way that we talked about Mad Men when it first started, even in press and doing interviews and stuff, and the conversation about that show was so different than the conversations that are happening now. So it's been an interesting perspective for me on that part of it.
How quickly it evolved.
Yeah. And, at the beginning of Mad Men, I remember it was like, oh, it's so cool and so sexy and everyone's drinking and smoking and it's awesome. It looks amazing. It was so cool. And that's very, very true. Yes, it was. I saw it morph over the seasons where all of a sudden the questions were about the women. All of a sudden the questions were more about the culture in the workplace and equal pay. I saw it change in front of my eyes. And then we had the sort of like in-between period between Mad Men and Handmaids, and it changed even more. Now the conversation that we have on Handmaids is different now than it was at the beginning of the show.
I enjoy when conflicting things are happening in my brain. I like when cognitive dissonance is happening. I like trying to juggle. So in some part, as a man watching Mad Men, there's this weird fantasy nostalgia. That's not a bad scenario for me. Now, if I'm a woman watching it, I'm not having any of that. And then so simultaneous to me thinking, oh, that's a fun fantasy for a male, because basically the world is designed to service you. That's appealing as an egomaniacal hedonist, right? And then as someone who loves women, there's also this other really conflicting thing in my head going, this is horrifying. And those women were slaves and all this stuff. And it's all happening at once in my head. And I kind of like it.
And I think that's kind of the point. I think that's a good thing. I think that's supposed to happen. It's supposed to evolve into that.
Well, I do think some men just watched it and been like, fuck, I wish I was living. I don't know that there was the other.
I don't know that they got there.
And maybe even some women like, oh, life was simpler then. I just baked shit.
Of course, everyone has different reactions to these things. But I do think that the point of the whole thing was to get you to have that experience.
Yeah.
To go, well, this is kind of great, right? And then over the 7 seasons, getting to a place of like, ooh.
It'd be easy to just focus on the wives who are having a good time at a Tupperware party, but to see you and go like, oh no, that's a modern woman who wants a lot more out of life.
And what's interesting about Peggy was she was such an accidental feminist. Like she was somebody who did not set out to change the game. She wasn't this whole other very valuable section of second wave feminism, which were the women who were out marching and writing and speaking and doing all of these things so valuable to the movement. Then there was a woman like Peggy who was just in this place of, I'm so sorry, I don't understand. So I'm doing more work than you.
Yep. Exactly.
But you're getting paid more. And she just had this almost naivete about it. I'm sure they've thought about this. There's a genuine good explanation for this. And then when she didn't get it, she was like, well, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. I feel like we should probably change how we run this. Right, guys? And they were like, no, thanks.
I love that accidental feminist. I think that was a lot of people at the time.
It was a lot of people at the time.
And still.
It was a lot of women in the workplace at the time and still is.
Well, I read a New Yorker interview with you. I read a New York Times thing with you. I watch you on this show. I watch you on that show. And I see the thrust of what people want Handmaids to be about. Everyone feels like it's perfectly on a platter expressing how they feel about a single issue. And it varies. There's people that think it's about this. There's people that, and they want you to basically levy a verdict for them. I think ultimately to know that they were right. I don't want to do that to you. But one part of Gilead that I find really fascinating, in the same way that Mad Men was appealing on like this dark level, I don't think there's a political spectrum. I don't think it's a straight line and you have the left and you have the right. I think of it much more as it's a circle. And I weirdly think Gilead is the intersection of the circle of the far left and the far right in this way. If you're on the left, you watch it and you're like, oh, horrific. But you guys go into the grocery store and the people on the left are like, boy, that food looks really healthy and organic. And the air is clean in Gilead. And the water has been returned to its former glory. So what's weird is that I feel like Gilead is the perfect intersection of what the loop of the spectrum is, which is both people on either ends of the spectrum think that their problems would be solved by returning to a previous time in history. For the people on the left, it'd be the 1800s when food was pure and you didn't put things in your body and everything was clean and organic, right? And it's a fantasy. And then on the far end of the right, it's that women are gayifying and feminizing all men and ruining everything. And so Gilead is this weird cross of those two.
That's one of the things that people forget about Gilead is the green thing that you just talked about. In our dystopian fiction, because it is sort of like a made up future hybrid of some things. Women aren't having babies anymore. And that's how this all starts. And so they develop this whole grain program and they purify the air and they purify the water and all the cars are hybrid and everything's organic and they bring the birth rate back up. In season 5, where we're getting to now, which I think is kind of cool, is Gilead is getting even smarter. They're getting more internationally savvy. So what my point is figuring out how to straddle that left and right, figuring out how to remain inside the circle rather than committing to one side is something that Gilead is getting very good at.
Well, and I think it's good writing. If you just painted it as these are family value people. Well, of course, if the women aren't having babies, it's because women are in the workforce and women are doing this, right? Like if it were singularly that, it would be dishonest. That's not really how it would shake out. It only appealed to one end of the spectrum. And because it's this really comprehensive thing, it's more compelling. There are upsides to Gilead. I'm glad there are. It makes it more complicated to evaluate.
It also humanizes the experience as well. If this was any sort of great theocracy or dictatorship, I mean, you've got to convince the people that there's something good about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
People generally aren't stupid. They want to do the right thing and they want to do what's best for their families and all of that. So what Gilead did that was so smart was they did present something that was pretty appealing. Being able to bring the birth rate back up, being able to have healthy babies, being able to have families, being able to do all that, like was very appealing. Those aren't bad things to want.
No.
Right,
Those are great things to want. But then, as Brad's character Lawrence would say, Gilead has to Gilead. They got all crazy on it. Then they did all this other stuff that wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Well, all roads do lead back to like when you put men in charge, you're going to get a pretty predictable outcome.
Yeah. It seems to be like a cyclical sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, hence why your friend, Warren Littlefield, invited you to be a producer early on. It's like,
Yes.
let's get some women involved.
You know, I think this year we only have one male director, and that's Brad,
Wow.
who snuck in there.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. He's a
We-
token.
Yeah.
Token
We got-
male.
Token male.
If we got to let a set of balls into the party,
Yeah.
I prefer
We
their
didn't want him to
Bradleys.
feel bad.
Yeah. Throw him a bone.
That would be more you and I geeking out about directing.
Things that Monica
just wanna-
can cut out.
Yeah,
We'll put in our
yeah,
extended
yeah.
cut.
Extended.
Just really quick, the high of getting a oner.
I love it. I love doing a oner. It's so fun. It's such a high. And yes, the decision of whether or not you back yourself up, which I've done both. I've done the oner where I have not backed myself up with anything, and then I've done it where I have with equal success and failure. Sometimes I've used the backup and sometimes I haven't.
That moment where you walk back and you're watching, you're trying to be scrutinizing, but you're also too excited that you might have got the impossible.
And everybody's crowded around.
So just really quick, a oner is when the scene starts, you're in a single shot, the camera shoots from one angle and maybe it changes, but you never cut. You never cut to a close-up. You never cut to another angle. You let it roll and you pray that everything falls perfectly. And
It's so fun.
It's the ballet.
It's the ballet.
good ding, ding, ding. Good bring back.
Thank you. Ballet.
Okay, so I talked about everything I wanted to. Were you at any
Yeah,
moment? Did you
no.
feel,
Oh, I feel like we
there was
did
one
a
you
good
had to
job.
table because I was telling
No,
her
but
stories
that's
about
nice. We
myself? Okay.
You're still thinking about that?
Oh, I will think about this for another 16, 18
Dax.
hours. Yeah.
You can't do that because then people will be resistant to call it out.
Oh, wow. Okay. I de-incentivize you because you know it's going to ruin. I can't
I can't
handle
ruin
it.
your day.
Right. Okay. That's
Basically,
great.
you're messing up again.
I
That's
just,
right.
I have one
screwed
last
up twice.
question about Handmaids. And
Okay.
just to let everyone know again, it'll have started by the time you're listening to this on Hulu, season 5 of one of the greatest shows ever made, of which Elisabeth directs a bunch of them. Without any spoilers, she's in the Walter White situation right now.
Biggest compliment you can give me.
Oh, okay, good.
Are you kidding?
You can start with a noble cause and you can start in self-defense. But on the other side of victory, it can change you and affect you. And I feel like June's very much like, is this gal going to go rogue and just be a fucking vigilante? Is she going to disconnect from everything she thought she was fighting for in the first place? Is that now just this bogus justification for more war and bloodshed and vitriol and vengeance?
Is it all of that?
Yes. It's a very scary place to see someone you've been rooting for.
Yeah. I love the arc that she has this season. It's not just lip service. Like, I actually do think it's really smart. We're going to wrap it up next year. And she's not the same woman she was before Gilead, obviously. She's not the same woman she was in Gilead, though.
Right.
And she's starting to not be the same person that she was when she got back, when she got to Canada.
Yeah.
That person who was very fragile and sort of just got out of prison and just didn't know how to deal with normal people and was very, 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 very angry, which is what we kind of got at the end of season 4 and we get in the beginning of season 5. There's kind of a new person that's being introduced from that, because how do you do that and still be a mother? How do you do that and still be a wife and a friend? You can't.
Yeah.
So she has to figure out a way to balance that. And it's not easy. And I don't know if we do it this season, but that's what she's kind of trying to do.
War changes you, right?
Yeah.
You go to there one person and you come back a different person. Then there's a period of making peace with those two people.
Yeah.
And like, who are you now post all those
Yeah,
things?
re-entry.
And what if the war is still going? Do you go
Exactly.
back? Do you join up again? Do you run away? What is the best way to fight the war? Because sometimes the best way to fight the war isn't necessarily on the
the ground.
battlefield.
Yeah.
That's what I tell myself when I don't enlist. When I don't go over to the Ukraine to help,
Yeah.
I tell myself, well, maybe I'm better just on this show talking about it a lot.
But it's also a good metaphor in life for any mini battle you're fighting at all. If you're in a relationship battle, if you're in anything, sometimes the most obvious way is not the best way.
June has dealt with hurting people a lot. Her actions have hurt people. She's gotten a little dark. She's a murderer.
Yeah, so let's just call it.
She's
what
a
it is.
murderer.
Yeah,
She's
she's
a
a,
cold-blooded killer, and was before the finale last year. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, she's a murderer!" And I'm like, "She killed people before that."
She's been racking up.
Oh yeah, like left a body count in Gilead.
Right.
You know?
True.
I mean, truly. And so, how do you continue to be a person in the world, knowing the things that you know, and knowing that that's what you did and who you've become?
So juicy.
Tasty. Role of a lifetime.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Well, you're so fun. Your eyes are so hypnotic. Your skin is so moisturized. These are all things
you.
that
Thanks
were
for
probably
noticing.
shocking.
I can't wait to do a skincare video with you.
I used a serum and a sunscreen today.
What serum?
Joanna Vargas Eden Pro serum, which has good things in it. I don't know what they are, but they're good.
When we do the video, you'll have to memorize the ingredients.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'll have to talk about like
That's
why
right.
the salicylic acid
right.
is good and why the like
Botanicals work.
You put your hand up to the camera.
vitamin A.
Yeah.
No parabens.
Oh, there you
A
go.
lot of like washing my face.
You see, I'm trying to get into this.
You're doing great.
I'm kind of like pitching myself.
parabens.
Soft audition right now.
No one's joining your workout video. Monica and I will not be there.
No.
We washing our faces.
We'll
I
wash
don't
our
know
face
that I'm
while you
signing
work
off on that. I think we could put together a very nice calisthenics video. Okay, Elisabeth, what a pleasure to meet you finally.
Truly
Long time
pleasure.
coming. We've wanted you forever, and I'm so delighted you came. And
I've
then
been
in
wanting to
person.
do this forever.
Oh, good.
I'm so glad it finally worked out.
Me too.
It makes more sense now that I know you live in New York. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
at
yeah.
some point I was like, well, she
Yeah.
clearly
Like,
doesn't want to do the show. She lives in LA. They only shoot the show 8 months a year, and she can't find the time.
What's she doing the rest of the
So
time?
she doesn't want to do the show.
And then I tried to do it another time. I tried to do it earlier and something happened. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's always something.
It's probably Rob's
This is the
fault.
first time I've been in LA. Poor Rob.
Rob,
Is that a
look at
White
it.
Sox
He's-
hat? It is. Yeah, then fuck Rob.
Yeah. Also, Rob's a rascal.
Is he a
a-
little rascal?
Oh my God,
Stone
he's the
cold rascal.
rascaliest rascal you'll ever meet. Yeah, he's naughty.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, it's my first time I've been in LA since February 2020. So
Okay.
that's why I've not come and done this.
Okay.
Well, we're so happy we waited in person because originally it was going to be Zoom. This is so much better.
No, I don't think this is much better. So much better. Yeah.
I wouldn't have seen your handbag. You and Monica couldn't have bonded.
Claire V.
Oh, Claire V. Claire
Shout
V.
out.
Claire V. I can't think of a better ambassador to your brand.
Seriously.
She's not done any print work to date, but she is open to it.
Tech Avail.
She secures up her retirement plan. She has not ruled out some tasteful print work. Elisabeth, what a party. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much.
And now my favorite part of the show, the fact check with my soulmate, Monica Padman. Oh my gosh.
Wait, mine fell.
They're selling merch there now?
It's for private.
Well, you know, because Denver is the,
conspiracy. Yes.
Mine fell. My other one fell. I
Oh
need
no,
to
you
get-
have two.
Yeah, he gave me two.
David got both of you guys pins.
Rob, you want
Well,
olive
even
oil?
worse, he gave her two.
But that's not worse.
Well,
I
it
just,
isn't that he had three. He could have easily distributed.
Okay.
Oh, this is horrific.
I don't want one, David, anymore.
Oh, this is
The plot keeps
Do you want this
thickening.
gargoyle?
No, I
Are
don't.
you sure?
None of it's from David.
It's from me. I got this pen and I'm giving it to Rob.
Well, this is appropriate for our fact check because people are already up to date on the intra-family drama.
That's right.
Yeah.
Look at
the
David's
brother.
face.
Oh, God, he's really...
It's because he doesn't. How do I defend you right now?
This is indefensible.
I want to defend
I
you.
can, but
Do it.
it'll be brutal.
Face blindness?
No, it's going to be harsher than that.
No, well, have at me.
I matter less.
No, that's
Well,
not true at all.
I'll tell you.
Oh, God.
I pay him, and you're hot. So this is easy, Rob. This is This is life on planet Earth. I didn't pay him. I'd be in the same fucking group as you. You could either be hotter or you could write the checks. Those are your two options to get a free pen.
You're very hot, Rob. Don't let.
Well, according to David.
Well, yeah. I don't know how what David feels
Let's
about
be
your
clear.
hotness
You're
or
very
mine.
hot. You're way more attractive than I am. I want to be clear on that. But I'm saying per David.
I do want to defend the movie invite scenario.
Okay.
There's a part of New Zealand culture that plays into this.
Okay.
Where when we do something, whenever I would make something, my default assumption is that no one I know is going to want to come and see that thing.
Of course.
That is just the default. It doesn't even enter my mind that someone would want to come.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen. Also, I'm mortified when friends see stuff I've done because I'm so scared that they won't like it or they might say something. I want to show my work to a bunch of strangers that I'm never
I
going to
hope
meet.
you heard I made that case for you. That's exactly how I am. If I'm going to go up in flames, I want to do it anonymously.
I did ask you a week before, though, if you were doing a screening and if you had a link, because I wanted to see it.
Yeah, so you requested a link. And links, not an option. That is literally not an option. Because we haven't sold the documentary, links just don't exist.
I just
of
mean
it.
I wanted to see it.
Yeah. So Monica had hounded me for quite a while. And so she got on the list very early. She
nothing
was
to
like,
do with my
she knew about
hotness.
the festival it was coming to. It was like aware. She'd seen my post about it. And so she sort of forced her way in there, forced my hand. Dax got in there. He
Because I
ran
was
the whole
providing
night.
a service.
He was providing a
his-
service.
and he
Ran the
pay
whole
his
night.
That's right.
You said to me very specifically, Rob, can I please come to the thing? I very specifically went through all the list. I made some calls. I found out someone that wasn't going to come. I chased people up. I got you a name that you could come in as, but you refused to come as that person.
Well, he was indignant,
So
right?
That was
that's
but-
the thing. So that's what.
That was also like 3 o'clock, and I have 2 small children, so it was harder for me to.
Well, yeah, I solved your problem. You said, can I come? Is there a ticket for me? Yes. You say this name, you're in. I'll be down there. I can sort it out. And then didn't get a text back.
So this is a little tiny bit different than what we heard.
And the part that was left out was that I asked prior about going.
First
You
of
asked
all,
for a screener.
Right.
Yeah.
He-
You asked for a link.
David reads things very literally because of his face blindness. Like he can't
Well, he's
make
not,
out
he's not
what people
autistic.
want.
He can read.
We
No,
don't know.
no, he can read nonverbal cues.
I'm right here.
Cindy doesn't know how to. He only can read the words as they are. He doesn't know that there's stuff underneath.
I don't know about the stuff underneath. And it gets you in trouble, which is why we're all here now.
He hates stuff underneath. He won't tell secrets.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's what I want to say, Rob. So what would be very hurtful to me, Rob, is if David was like, I don't want Rob at this screening.
Well, that's what it felt like.
Right. I don't want Rob at this screening is very hurtful. I would be devastated. But now that you've heard, David never, ever once in his mind was like, I got to keep Rob out of this.
Well, yeah.
That didn't have, there was a series of poorly managed opportunities to make you happy, but never an intention
absolutely.
to keep you away from the movie.
100%.
Now, the pin, on the other hand, that's a different animal. Now, that's a whole different animal. And now I don't have a huge defensive view on the pin. So let's talk about the pin.
Oh, I just did an episode for Flight the Spirit about Denver Airport. The airport gave me 3 pins.
Oh, they gave.
Oh, you presented as he bought you this pin.
Right. So no, but I like that. That's better for you, Rob. They gave 3 pins is different than David was at the store in the airport and was picking out pins for us
Absolutely
and
not.
didn't get one for Rob.
Yeah, and I gave one to you, Monica. I gave one to Dax, and then there was a little tiny extra one.
Yeah, this is just
Yeah,
it
Monica.
wasn't even
that could have gone to Rob. That I do own that. That was bad. And I apologize. I will never apologize for the Mr. Organ film situation, but I absolutely apologize because that was my bad.
Okay.
I'm glad we're through this.
Do you accept his apology? Or are you going to harbor? Are you putting it in the vault to later be unleashed on him?
No, I'm not going to unleash anything on him. I accept your apology.
I think this is nice.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to share this extra pin with you, Rob. Anytime you want. We can have joint custody of this scar.
I love all you.
I appreciate you, Monica.
I love all you guys a lot. Come on, get real.
Everyone loves each other so much here.
We do. We're going to do a concert next weekend, Rob. The Mars
we'll
Volta.
We'll see. I might have to.
Wait, when you're going to? I'm not invited to that.
Well,
no, starting again.
I have another
Just kidding, I don't
theory,
wanna go.
but it's going to really border on sexual harassment. So I would not ever.
For me or David?
For you.
Okay, then you can.
Are you sure? So I just want the audiences. You hear it. Okay. I do think that David was. So he got these 3 pins, and
He was gifted 3 pins.
Yeah. He came to have 3 pins.
Okay.
And he's like, I give my quote boss one, right? They gotta like kick one up to the boss. And then he's like, oh man, this is gonna look great on Monica. She'll put it on her. She'll put it on her sweater. Hold on.
Oh no, Dax.
And then he was like, man, that's gonna look good on there. And then he's like, oh, but there probably should be 2.
You're the worst person.
But they're different sizes.
Yeah, that'd be
You
disgusting.
should have given me the tiny one in retrospect, and then her matching.
Monica, here's 2 of the exact same pins.
You wear them above.
Do with it what you will.
The new trend is to wear 2.
On the nipple area.
Well, no, I don't know that he went that far. He imagined this pin sitting above one breast, and he's like, that feels uneven. I better give her the second one.
Where did I put my pin, though?
On your pocket.
On my pants.
Weird. David, did you imagine what the pin would look like on Monica?
I didn't.
See?
Monica will
I
like
know. And now see, this is where you get yourself into trouble.
I paint myself into a couple corners.
You do.
Because now you're sad he didn't
That's
imagine.
right.
Yes, that's right. Well, I shouldn't have asked that follow-up question. I was almost there. I almost
You're getting
threaded the needle.
You're getting better.
Who is this episode for?
This is for Elisabeth Moss.
Oh, wonderful.
I do want to say a couple things.
Okay.
I had a really nice encounter with an armchair yesterday
Where?
at the gas station.
Okay, great. The 76 by your house?
The Hillhurst
Okay.
one, where you let out a lot of gas.
Or I had just, caused an environmental disaster.
Yes. I was there getting gas, and there was a car accident that happened at the intersection.
Okay.
That.
A light rear ending or like a full
No,
T-boning?
it wasn't great.
Someone was making a left and got blasted?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then I think that person left.
A hit and run.
Yeah. So then everyone at the gas station besides me is like, having a kerfuffle over it. Like they want to know where the person is. They're all chit-chatting and getting excited.
They're deputizing each other.
Exactly.
Right, to get involved.
And there was one guy who was standing there. I guess he was probably about to cross the street when this happened. And so he kind of walked down. He had headphones in. He kind of walked down and was like, did that guy leave? And I didn't know if he was talking to me or not, so I didn't answer.
Okay.
And I was cleaning out my car because now I'm very anxious about the state of my car.
Oh, because of the trunk debacle.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And this guy kind of poked his head in over the my door was open, but he kind of leaned over and he said, "Are you Monica?" I said, "Yes." And he said, I'm listening to the Scarlett Johansson episode right now. And it's like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Did you say ding, ding, ding? You could have given him a real life ding, ding, ding.
I wasn't.
You
I
weren't
wasn't in that
state of mind.
mindset. I was in my cleaning mode.
By the way, if he had been in the fact check of that episode, he would have actually been learning of the disarray of your car while he watched you deal with it. That would have been a duck, duck, goose times a ding, ding, ding.
You're right.
Wow.
You're right. Yeah, so he was really complimentary, and it was really sweet, and I was happy to have him as a listener.
Yeah.
His name's Josh.
Hi,
Shout
Josh.
out Josh. He was very cute.
Oh, he was.
And I liked that. I was like, oh, we have a hot male listener.
Yes. What do you think his age was?
I'm bad at that.
Yeah. Well, your eyes aren't good. Let's start with that. You're handicapped.
Yeah, he might not have been hot.
That's
To be fair.
Yeah.
I just
could have been a female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was a man, and his name was Josh, and he was fit, and he,
on top of being cute.
and he was cute, and he listens to our show.
Oh my God. Would you say he was in his 20s or his 30s or his 40s?
I would guess 30s. I would guess,
Oh.
but I'm not sure. I'm not.
So
good
maybe
at that.
your age.
Maybe.
Did he inquire about what was next? Like,
No.
Oh, okay.
Remember when you don't ask that question?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, Josh, if you're listening, shout out to you.
Maybe he was the one that did the hit and run.
Oh, great alibi. I couldn't have been in that accident. I was talking to Monica from Armchair Expert.
You're right.
Right, Monica?
Yeah, and I would.
You would have said anything because he was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
He was just here
even
the whole
if I
time.
saw him commit the crime, I would say, no. We were chatting.
This
Couldn't have
guy?
been him.
Yeah.
He's too hot.
Too hot to be fucking off like that.
Okay. Also, on my walk here today, I ran into another armchairy, and she was really sweet too.
Do we get her name?
No,
Josh?
wasn't Josh.
Okay.
I regret not getting her name.
David, how often are you running into armchairies? You're a podcast sensation now. Are you getting flagged? And
I'll occasionally bump into lovely people. The only encounter I had that I found really awkward, it was a mum who'd just picked up her teenage kid from school and had let the kid out of the car, then saw me and just wanted to talk about mainly Armchair Expert, actually, which is annoying. It wasn't about Fight the Spread.
Yeah.
But I humoured her. I said, Dax is wonderful. Monica's wonderful.
sure.
Ranting on. Meanwhile,
Rob's
her kid was
gorgeous.
so dark and embarrassed. And she just went and sat on the doorstep. She didn't have a key. She couldn't get in the house while her mum just was, being really kind. And I remember her poor daughter. So all I could see, I was looking at the mum and then my eyes would flick across to the daughter. So angry and so annoyed. And eventually I just had to bail from that conversation. And Americans love conversation.
Yeah.
I'm bad at ending it. So I just slowly started walking away.
Backwards, or you turn your back
backwards,
to them?
and then I turn my body, and then I turn my head back.
Okay.
And eventually just left.
While she's
mid
talking.
sentence.
Don't think back.
Now, I wouldn't have had a lot of sympathy for the daughter who was that annoyed she was waiting 2 minutes to get in the house. To be honest, it's interesting that that's who you chose to
I
be
did. I felt,
sympathetic
no,
to.
you've had a whole day at school and you're probably hungry, just wanted to get inside. Instead, you're stuck on the front step while your mum raves on.
For a whole 2 minutes.
It was a long time. This conversation
really?
was about 10 minutes.
Oh my
Oh
goodness.
no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I had to
God.
walk away. I tried to do natural ends, Dax.
Oh,
I was giving
okay.
outs after outs after outs, and I'd go to walk away.
Okay.
But then the conversation would start again. I'd see the angry daughter. And so that's why I ended up having just to be like walking away, physically extracting myself.
You had to set that boundary.
I misunderstood. I thought you kind of like, she had said she liked me, then she said she liked Monica, and then you're like, I don't like this. Like,
Oh no, I gave so much.
oh, okay.
What did you
gave-
say about us?
I said lovely, specifically Rob, lovely, lovely producer. He holds this thing together.
Okay, next topic. Something's happening. My luncheonette mug is also lost.
Oh boy.
And that's a very important
From
mug
your
to
home?
me.
Or did you bring it into your trunk at some point?
I know, but I cleaned my I thought, oh, maybe it's in my trunk, and it wasn't there.
Uh-oh.
And I wonder if it's here, but I'm panicked because that's an important mug to me.
And they're not making any more.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was it.
Limited edition.
Show's over. Oh.
But is it mine? How will we know if it's mine? And it
what
has
if
to
now
be
she takes
mine.
my last one?
We don't normally have one of these.
But what if it's yours?
I'll look in my cupboard and see if I have one. Why don't you just take it? And then if I discover I don't have one, then I won't ask for it back.
You know, like if it's not mine, it doesn't count.
I know. This
know
is if
how
you
I
didn't
feel.
get the mug from Detroit yourself.
No, that showed up recently.
This is
That one did, yeah.
Listen, I'm in a mug situation. Like this one went missing. / maybe I left it here.
Yeah. Your Michigan.
Yes, my Michigan.
Which there's also a Michigan mug over there.
my Michigan mug went missing.
Are you sure that's not it?
I'm not sure, but there's
Okay.
no way to
I
know.
think just your mugs are making their way over here and they're not lost.
No, I think they're lost, and I think it has something to do with the Tesla infestation. Like I think they're up to something with my mugs.
Yeah, like now this is a signal, yet a second signal, and you don't know how it all adds up.
I told Liz this. Liz is in town, and I told her about the infestation. Well, no, we were driving, and I said, "Oh my God, white Tesla," and she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're like after me." And then she started noticing. She was like, "Yeah, there is one, and there too." And she was like, "Yeah, you're being tracked."
Oh, she went right with you.
Yeah.
That's a good friend. That's who you need. That's who you wanted. That is who you've been looking for. You found her. Did you call her when you cut your finger?
Yes.
Yeah, what did she say? Did she start screaming and running in circles around her apartment?
No, she.
Oh my God, have you called 911?
She didn't, but she did say, "Oh my God!" Like you know,
Yeah.
she met me where I needed to be.
Right. I think this is great.
Although I told David that I should have. I said I should have maybe called you, and you said yes, you should have. But he didn't
Absolutely.
have a car, so
I would have
that
been no use.
that
So I'll be ordering an Uber. I'll
exactly.
see you in an hour.
So it wouldn't have been helpful.
But you're very close.
I am pretty close. I could have jogged, a gentle jog there.
Yeah, you could have
To stop
done
the
a
bleeding.
brisk walk would have got you there in probably 12 minutes.
And I've got Band-Aids at home as well. I could have brought one of those.
But I had Band-Aids.
You needed
were-
more emotional support.
Yeah. Do you think you could have provided that?
I would have attempted to access my emotions to help.
Well, when I told you that it happened and that maybe I should have called you, you said, "Yeah, you should have gone to the hospital."
Okay. Well, another
Sort of before I knew the extent of the bleeding, I suggested that.
You now have two. This is great.
I know.
Yeah, it's
But
the
then
secret.
I think if you really showed up, I think you would have said, "We're not going to the hospital." And Liz was doing it for me. She knew I didn't need, she didn't say you need to go to the hospital. She just said, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?"
Yeah.
You know, she was just trying to be there for me.
Yeah. But she does believe you're getting tracked, which is great.
Yeah, and I am.
Yeah.
On my walk here, there was one pulled over on the side of the road when I walked by, and then one pulled in front of me into the
Oh,
gate.
my
It's
God.
scary.
Something's really happening.
It's really scary.
There's a plot afoot.
Yeah. Do you have any updates?
I have a race tomorrow.
Yes.
So I spent the morning preparing for that. As you just recently heard, I had a track day on Monday. I spent the previous day preparing, and that was a disaster.
Yes.
Today's prep day went a lot better.
Good.
I have 4 new tires on my truck, so no tire issues.
Great.
My gear arrived in time. David, I'm competing in a
And Rob.
well, are we doing that now? I am addressing Rob every
Okay,
time. David is the guest right
When
now.
David is here, I think it's appropriate that you also
Okay.
include Rob.
Okay. Also, Rob already knows this, but Rob, I'm tomorrow. I'm going to go down to Huntington Beach, and I'm going to race in this what is a big motorcycle race with real professional people, and then as almost a sideshow, it's very large men on kind of smaller motorcycles, a 150cc motorcycle,
This is
a little
exciting.
motorcycle. Me and DeCastro and some other people.
I wish
And
I could come watch.
yeah, I'm already now panicked. I can't get the girls' tickets because I was supposed to get those long ago.
This
As
is
I
like
found
an
out.
event. This is like a
It's a
big...
huge event. There's going to be audience and shit cheering.
This is a ding, ding, ding. You didn't invite.
Well, of course not. We just went over the fact that I don't want anyone to see me do anything.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, you want to do it. And maybe it's like people know you're doing it, but you don't want people their eyes on you.
I have to tell you a Machiavellian part. This is an ugly side of my character.
Oh.
So when I was invited to do this by my friend DeCastro, who was the stunt coordinator on all 3 of the movies I did, he said, let's do this race. And I said, oh, okay. Can Aaron come? Because I don't want to finish last.
Not best friend Aaron
Not
Weekly.
best friend Aaron Weekly, but he would have done a good job as well fulfilling that role. The problem is if I can make an excuse for myself a little bit, and DeCastro, weight is going to be an enormous issue. These are underpowered little motorcycles. So me and him at 215 versus the dude that's 145.
Yeah.
We're going to get smoked, right? So I was like, okay, bring Aaron, because often I'm faster than his best friend, Aaron. Shout out Aaron Bababian. Love you. So he's like, okay, good. Aaron's in. I'm like, great. So I won't be last, hopefully. Then I was at the track on Monday. I saw Aaron. Hey, I'm going to see you Saturday. He goes, no, I can't find a fucking sitter for my dog.
Oh, no.
And I said, you're
Bad
not coming because you can't find a sitter for, like, drop your dog at my house or something. You have to be in this race.
David will watch
I'll
it.
take the dog.
Okay, I'll let him know today.
If that lets you not be the loser,
And
I'll
then,
take that for you.
and then I found out yesterday from DeCastro, it's not like it's just one race. There's heats. There's like qualifying. So there's a good chance I won't even make it to the big race itself. Anyways,
She'll make it.
I've
You'll
already
make it.
decided I'm there to have fun.
Good.
Dirt bikes isn't my claim of high competency. I'm good on a street bike. Dirt bike, I'm
Don't-
very average.
Don't make it your identity.
It's not going to be.
you
So I'm
put
going to have fun, but I'm
protective
probably
gear on?
going to lose.
Are you going to be protected, helmet, all that stuff?
Yeah, I'll have
Okay, good.
all the right stuff on my my top dog Heath at Alpine Stars has me all hooked up with a very gorgeous new outfit. I'm on all white. You'll probably see me. I'll stand out like when I'm coming in the very back.
Wait,
you'll be like, "Oh, there he is."
I'll see you. I'm invited now.
You're invited after assuming Rob's
Rob's invited
first. He's first. And I need you to be my pit crew, Rob. I need you to work on the motorcycle.
I'll
can do
work
that.
on it.
Do you
Well-
get nervous or excited?
I think, well, generally, like when I race cars and it was actually competitive, I am very nervous sitting on the grid. I hate waiting. I feel constricted by all the gear I'm wearing. Nervous. The second the thing starts, the driving the car or the riding the motorcycle, I don't have any nervousness. I just enjoy it and it's fun. So I am now, as a point of practice, I'm just jumping to a flag will be waved and I'll be riding a dirt bike and that'll be great. So I'm not currently too nervous. Also, again, small motorcycles, 150s.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Yeah. I don't doubt we'll get up above 50 miles an hour at any point.
Have you ever ridden a motorcycle?
I've ridden a scooter, and that's it. I was in Rarotonga. I got my scooter license, and off around the island I went.
Like a Vespa?
Like a Vespa style vehicle.
Okay.
It was probably a Yamaha. Or
Yeah, it was a little
Honda.
Yamaha.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of tourists get injured on that island because they'll get very drunk and then they'll scooter home because that's how everyone travels, and they'll just crash into a tree or fall off.
Everywhere where scooters are rented, all spring breaks, people go down to the Bahamas, they go to the St. Martin, St. Kitts. People are dropping like flies now.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and you pick up
Everything.
speed and you're a bit drunk and suddenly it's all over.
That's right. Have you ever rented a scooter, Monica? I'm sorry, Rob, have you ever
Oh, my God. Okay, I don't like that.
Yeah, right?
I've ridden your daughter's bikes, the little Indians.
Oh, you have? Oh, then you're
Indians
ready.
triggered.
No,
Yeah, I
that's the
don't-
name of a motorcycle company.
Oh.
You smell really good today, Dax.
I do?
Some smell is
Oh.
emanating off you.
I think I recently put on my
And it's-
deodorant.
What flavor is that? I want to go and buy
He
some.
does have nice deodorant. I've noticed it.
I'm
too.
blowing it
We
toward
talked-
you.
Is that the
Yeah.
smell?
Is it increasing?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, wonderful.
I want to buy some
it's
of
an
that.
Old Spice. You want me to send you a pic of it from
I
my
would love
medicine
that. I'm gonna
cabinet?
get
It's
some.
a nice deodorant.
When I was
Uh-huh.
15, I was a bit in love with a guy in my class, and he smelled a certain way. And I remember going to the supermarket and getting all the deodorants and spraying it in, trying to find what he smelled like so I could smell the same.
Did
It was Lynx Africa.
You found it.
It's called Lynx Africa.
It's called Lynx Africa. Lynx is like the brand, whatever the most terrible teenage deodorant is in
It
America.
was Dakar here in.
Yeah.
Or
It was
Axe body
it's
spray.
Axe.
Oh,
It's
Axe,
bad
yeah.
news.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Although Axe, great product if they'd like to sponsor, a very good product.
I'm going to
And
ask.
Africa. Was that the name of your
Lynx Africa.
Lynx Africa? Okay.
Lynx Africa. Is it a secret about.
Mhm.
I've been told a few secrets, and I don't know which ones are secrets and not. He was upset
All
that
of
I
them.
brought up something that was not a secret at all.
Right.
That he does drugs.
Well,
Again.
yeah.
Again.
That's
He's
fine.
done every
Allegedly.
drug.
He's
I
done
might
them.
have hypothetically.
But I said that's not a secret. We talk about.
We love drugs.
Yeah.
We're very pro drugs.
I did.
We had Michael
shrooms.
Pollan on. Yeah. What more can we do to make you feel comfortable doing drugs?
Whatever it is you're thinking of saying, it'll be a secret.
Okay.
Because the thing in your
Ah.
brain that's holding you back, it's the bit of your brain going, secret.
Well, now I'm afraid to say anything, but it is a ding, ding, ding to what we were just talking about.
Okay, try it out.
About your the business you want to start.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
A lot of
Smelling.
sensitive people in this room. I just want to say that.
Walking on eggshells.
Including you, sir.
I didn't say I wasn't.
I know.
That was a sensitive response.
I can't live like
It was
this.
a-
Many men and
Okay, the business.
the business. Ding, ding, ding. Smelling good. David has a business venture that he wants to start.
Okay.
It's the best smell in the world ever, and it's the best smell I've ever smelled, and anyone that smells it will agree with me, is the back of a cockatiel's neck.
Wow.
So people that own parrots, I'm a big parrot guy, they have a sort of a dusty smell, a lot of birds. Your cockatoos, your cockatiels, your
Sure.
conures, your African greys. If you have a pet bird, it'll sit on your finger, right?
Okay.
You often
Not
find
right, by the way. You're telling us new stuff. We don't know the names of any of the things
Yeah.
you just said, and we
And
don't know they
often-
sit on your finger.
These birds, especially the cockatiel and the cockatoo, they love a scratch on the back of the head, aka the sort of the neck.
Okay.
What they also love is what you'll end up doing. It's hard to explain if you don't have a bird, but you'll end up getting the bird and you'll sort of have it sit in your finger and you'll sort of nestle your nose in the back of its neck. And that's just a natural thing you do to kind of scratch the bird to show affection to your bird.
Yeah.
But you'll also do a little sniff.
You'll steal a little sniff.
And the smell of the back of a cockatiel's neck, I'm not the only one. There's a Facebook group called Cockatiel Sniffers Anonymous. Hundreds of thousands of people, because if you've ever sniffed a cockatiel, you will know what I'm talking
Is
about.
it tropical? Like
No,
what-
I can't even describe it.
Okay.
It's just the smell, and there's nothing else like it. There's nothing else to liken it to. I want to bottle that up, pop it in a fragrance,
Yeah.
and it is going to be my ticket out of here.
Start yacht shopping. The ticket out of this cage you're in.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
but as soon as I sort out, there's a word for it, sort of fragrancist, or have you sort of whoever concocts
Yeah.
these smells. Whenever I get that,
A perfumist.
a perfumist. Whenever I get it sorted, I will
Pure
bring it to you, or I'll just bring you a cockatiel and you can sniff it.
I would love that. Do they ever nip at your face when you're when you're stealing that smell? Because I do that to babies. Every time I hold someone's baby, oh, let me hold your baby. They don't know I have a nefarious plot.
You'll
to
sniff the top of
back
the
of their neck.
Everyone
and
does
their head.
that. That's normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it is a danger with a parrot that it will bite you. My old parrot Keith bit my dad's friend's ear.
Too
off,
many
a bit
people
of it off.
removed.
Took him
My
out of the ear.
Dad's friends.
Yeah, sorry,
dad's-
The
my friend's
parrot's name
dad's
is
dad.
Keith.
The parrot's name is Keith. I blew right past that. Yeah.
Anyway, they can draw blood. You have to be careful.
Yeah, they're those little beaks are meant to rip apart another animal.
They
right?
are.
Yeah.
I'd only bring you a very tame, calm cockatiel to sniff.
Okay. Do you consider yourself like an amateur ornithologist?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm really good with parrots. Like, I've had so many parrots as pets. I know how to care for them and look after them. I don't really know a lot of the technical aspects.
Okay.
David is a
But I
big
know the
bird
behavior.
guy.
Well, he's a very tender, loving guy.
a bird
No,
man.
no,
That's what I
but
like.
when we went on like some of these trips, like he'll like go off and find like the bird sanctuary.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm off with the birds.
Yeah.
Back to the how many hours you have in your day question I had when watching the doc, which is like, where did this slot in? I don't understand where this
Yes.
slotted in.
I know.
It's always
I try
time.
to force David to hang out with me, and he's always busy.
Oh.
I have been lately, but we're going to hang out soon. Today, potentially.
He does
Oh.
it. He does it to me too. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
God, you're so popular, David. I'm jealous. Now I'm jealous. Everyone's trying to hang out with David. He's too busy. Now I'm going to ask you to hang out just to see if I can cut
And
through the
I'll
red tape.
I'll smell like
Hey.
you by then.
Maybe you got a pin because you're hot. Have you
Well,
thought about that?
I'm open to it. I'm open to
You
the
have that
idea.
good smell and
Such a good smell.
Jesus, so much to
Thinking about
compete
how-
with out here.
How high the pin would be on my tall shoulders.
I'll pin it on.
This-
Oh God, I'm jealous now.
This is a mess. Okay.
Okay, Elisabeth Moss.
Since you didn't hear the interview, David, what kind of personality would you just assume Elisabeth Moss has?
I'd assume super intense just because she's in some
Yeah.
super intense stuff. And she's
Right.
clearly an amazing actor.
Yeah.
I would think intense.
Melancholy, maybe even? Or you wouldn't go that
just
far?
not, I would just think not particularly, not full of humor.
Yes. So literally the opposite. Playful. I'd say the antonym to
Yeah.
intense would be playful.
Actors
she
get you, don't they? Like that. You're watching
Yeah.
their stuff.
Very mysterious.
It actually made her even more impressive as an actor, and she already was at the apex for me. She's Meryl Streep. She's just
Yeah, she's incredible.
she's indomitable.
Yeah.
And then to find out she's the opposite person, it even ratcheted up a bit.
Well, to find out she barely cares about acting technique. Like
Yes.
she doesn't care. She's not taking it too seriously. I loved that about
Least pretentious.
her. We talked a little bit about the Wonderland murders.
Oh,
so
right.
then I looked that up.
Yeah, because I was really trying to remember the plot of a movie I saw 20 years ago.
Boogie Nights.
But I thought it was a robbery gone bad and then a retribution and maybe some drugs.
Okay.
These are all generic guesses, aren't they, about a murder?
The Wonderland murders, also known as the 4 on the Floor murders. 4 on the Floor, ooh. Or the Laurel Canyon murders are 4 unsolved. I don't like that.
Oh, they're unsolved.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
4 unsolved murders that occurred in LA on July 1st, 1981. It is assumed that 5 people were targeted to be killed in the known drug house of the Wonderland gang. 3 of whom, Ron Lanius, William Billy Deverell, and Joy Miller were present.
Those are such 80s names, aren't they?
Yeah.
Every one of them delivered on 1981.
Those three, along with the girlfriend of an accomplice, Barbara Richardson, died from extensive blunt force trauma injuries. Only Lonnius' wife, Susan, survived the attack. Allegedly masterminded by organized crime figure and nightclub owner Eddie Nash. Nash, his henchman, Gregory Diles, and porn star John Holmes
There we go.
were at various times arrested, tried, and acquitted for their involvement in the murders.
I
Whoa.
thought Johnny Holmes was involved. You know
Well-
John Holmes, right?
I don't at all.
Oh, he's the most famous porn star
Just
to
heard
ever
porn
live.
star.
No.
I was curious.
Yes.
He can't be the most famous porn star to ever live because none of us have heard of him.
Well, let's put it this way. You've heard of...
I've heard of Ron Jeremy.
Ron Jeremy.
Okay, but hold on. You've heard
Not a
of
good man.
Deep Throat.
Yeah.
That was his penis inside.
Oh, wow.
You've heard of Boogie Nights.
Absolutely.
That's completely based on whatever his name is.
Also, I
He's
know
so famous,
exactly
I've
who
just
you're
forgotten.
talking about. Yeah,
What's
okay.
his name again?
I forget. John Holmes.
John Holmes.
Yeah.
Yes, that character is based on John Holmes. And remember, in Boogie Nights, there turns out to be some crazy crime, gnarly
and this
twist,
is-
and that's all John Holmes. He
It's
had
a forgettable name. That's the problem.
You're right. It almost sounds like John Doe, John Holmes. Very long schlong, as you would imagine. Famous for the length of his schlong.
I assume so, yeah. Okay, do coyotes hurt people? This is kind of a ding, ding, ding to something we talked about yesterday on Flightless Bird as well. Yeah, they kill. I mean, they kill.
They kill people.
Yes, like not very many, but
Let's see. Let's hear about it.
okay.
I got to say, I think it was maybe because I heard you guys talking about it. I left midway through. Amy and Kristen were out walking through the neighborhood on like a Sunday morning, late morning, and they came upon a coyote that was so big that they decided to turn around. And then I thought, fuck, I'm always encouraging the girls to run around the neighborhood. And then I hated the thought of that. And I'm like, oh my God, of course a coyote would go after an 8-year-old.
Yeah,
that's a horrible
right?
They need to be aware of it at least.
I need to arm them, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Is that right? Do I have this correct? I need to give them handguns?
Okay.
Little pink handguns?
I'm left out of the walk that Amy and Kristen took.
Oh, okay. Amy came over to get some wardrobe items for her wedding in New York. She needed something formal. And then I think she threw Kristen a bone. Like, okay, you're going to give me all this stuff and then I'll go on a walk with you.
Okay.
All right.
They just live so close, you know?
Oh,
Like I
okay.
could pop over so fast.
Mm.
Okay, so at one person per year in California, one would estimate 10 attacks per year in the U.S., giving 500 attacks in the last 50 years alone. It's a lot.
It's not a lot. Not a lot. 10 a year in a country of 300 million.
And
So
what's an
you have a
attack?
1 in 30 million chance of getting attacked this year by a
It does
coyote.
say coyote attacks on people are very rare.
Okay.
But
Are they ever deadly? Are they lethal?
yeah.
You said yeah, like duh, but I don't know that you read that.
No, they are.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Duh.
I mean, that's the thing about an animal attack. It's so rare when it happens. The story spreads so quickly and becomes such a thing. You sort of start to assume every coyote is going to leap on you and tear you
Yes.
apart.
I don't want to roll the dice with my 7 and 9 year old.
Exactly.
I gotta figure something out.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna
Like
get 'em guns.
everyone's like, "Oh no, they're fine," until it's your 7-year-old that you're thinking about.
Little Delta running like totally
Yeah,
not.
fuck that,
Yeah.
no.
I started thinking I'm not going to give them guns. So do I have to somehow trap this coyote and release him like 100 miles from here?
We did learn in the episode. We talked about it, so I don't think it's a secret. Because I asked David to let me in on this type of personality, right? Like a type of person who loves animals so much. There really is no judgment here. I want to know what is it like to live in a brain where the animal is so precious that you're willing to put yourself in danger for it or put other humans in danger for it.
Yeah.
I can't comprehend it, and I'd like to. And then he said some dumb stuff.
Okay.
And then he said something that hit. He said, animals are simple and humans are complicated.
And they need our protection.
No,
It's our
that
duty.
was one of the dumb stuff he said. But no, the reason he likes animals so much is because animals are so simple. He doesn't have to like read them or
Memorize their face.
meet their needs.
There's no big relationship aspect to it. They just like animals love you and adore you regardless of anything, and there's something very appealing about that.
And they won't betray you.
That's right. It's deep.
No betrayal.
I hit you with this theory like 4 months ago. People who love dogs, my hunch is, or at least a high percentage of them, had very complicated relationships where that to get the love they wanted, it came with a lot of strings. And they love to just be able to love this thing, get some love back, and not be manipulated, not be...
That's right. You didn't tell me that, but that is what David told me,
Okay, yeah.
basically. But you had complicated relationships and you don't love dogs. And I feel like I had complicated relationships with approval.
My mother definitely just loved the daylights out of me. Now, I had to deal with certain things that came along with her, but they were not manipulative towards me. She had her own issues with needing lots of different men to move in the house a lot.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, I'm going to give you affection, and then right on the heels of that, I'm going to try to get you to do this thing I want you to do or think the way I think.
Yeah.
There was no manipulation. It was just she made bad choices I was the victim of.
Right.
So I do think the source of love was very pure. I just think she had a lot of depression and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so the relationship was complicated, but I don't think the love was tainted in any way. I know other people that to receive their mom's love, it was going to come with an agreement to do everything they said and think the way they thought. And it was always being leveraged against them.
It was just more transactional in a
It
way.
was a controlling mechanism. Can you relate at all to those
Yeah,
things?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
The dog looks at you and it's like the extent of his manipulation is going to be like, please give me a treat or take me on a walk.
Or I'll bite you.
That love's never going to get revoked for any reason, or nothing's going to shift. It's just always there 100% of the day.
Yeah, it's
like
safe.
very
It feels
comforting.
safe to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
never gonna go away.
I totally get the appeal of that for people who their love came with a lot of strings.
I'm sorry I wouldn't kill that rattlesnake.
I don't want to speak
It's
for
okay.
you, but
I don't
knowing,
want you to do anything you don't want to do.
knowing not to speak for you, but knowing what I know of your parents, they were very not manipulative.
No.
Like they just
At all.
loved and provided.
They
Yeah,
love,
yeah,
but
yeah.
in a way that not in an
Not how
affectionate way.
Not the way
at
your
all.
peers certainly received it. Yeah.
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 So maybe,
but no
maybe I should get a
manipulation.
dog.
You kind of like them a lot more than you think you do.
No, I do. I do
yeah,
like them.
you like them a lot.
Well-
It's like
Not a
this
lot.
is kind of you're like the Prestige. Like you're a magician and you got to walk the routine all the time. But I've seen you when you're not living the Prestige.
No, I like Frank.
I know, and he's the least likable of
No,
the
I
lot.
like
He's,
Frank.
you know
I
what
like
your thing is? That you don't like the dogs that bite people. This motherfucker's bit more people than Cujo did, and that's the one you
Yeah.
like.
Maybe I like him because he doesn't bite me.
And that he bites people. You like a danger boy.
He likes
You
biting
like a-
people, but he
yeah,
won't bite me.
yeah,
That's
you like a danger
dead
boy.
on to my psyche for sure. This is a bad person, but they love me. They won't
that's
hurt
why you
me.
can kind of relate to liking a serial killer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they're hot.
for sure. So hot. I hope Josh is a serial killer.
Oh, he probably was gorgeous, just strolling around. That's suspicious.
Speaking of, I heard this. My favorite podcast, Nobody's Listening, right? Elisabeth and Andy told this crazy story that I guess went viral on TikTok. Also, big shout out to all the armchairies who've started listening to that show and are writing
Migrated over.
reviews. They're listening to both.
Yeah.
And they're so sweet and it's making them so happy and it makes me so happy. And Elizabeth said I'm the patron saint and she's going to make a day about me.
Oh my gosh, this is great.
Yeah, I know.
You're gonna be celebrated.
Yeah. Anyway, it does warm my heart so much that people are leaving them nice comments and I love it. Anyway,
Viral TikTok.
So I guess there was this guy, he met a girl at the grocery store. I don't know. He saw this girl and was like, "Oh, that's like a cute girl or something." And then saw her somewhere else and then saw her at Disneyland. Like he kept seeing her like the white Teslas.
Right. Yeah.
And
Bader Meinhof.
And then she was like in line behind him at Disneyland or something. And then they started talking and it was like this whirlwind romance and they started dating and then they dated for like 4 years or something. And simultaneously, this woman had a business with her friend. And I guess that business kind of imploded. And then the friend told the boy, hey, just so you know, it wasn't like this weird coincidency thing. She was stalking you, basically, and like weird stuff. Like he'd be like, "Oh my God, you have all my favorite snacks," and she's like, "How weird!" And it's because she knew what he was buying.
Oh wow,
Love that.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, look, it was like so many things. Our pop song, like "It's Cold Outside," is a totally rapey song, right?
Yes.
Even a song that I love. You can't change that. Da, 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 you're the only one I love, and you can't change that. You're the one I. It's a great R&B song.
Okay.
He's like, you can change your telephone number. You can change. And it starts sounding like you can.
And
Move,
you're like, what?
You can move around. You can do anything you want.
Is
and
it called restraining
But it's so
order?
romantic back then, and you just gotta remember, like every pop song
And you listen to the
had
actions.
an element of stalker.
I
We
know.
had a different feeling about it back then.
We did cat and mouse, and it's romantic, and it's not harassment, which it is harassment.
Go after what you love.
What's that Christmas film everyone watches at Christmas? Bill Nye, he's in it.
Bill Nye?
Bill Nye. No, not Science Guy. What's his name? Oh, no, I'm going to
Will
stop.
Ferrell?
Oh, no, I know. Love Actually.
Love Actually.
Yes.
Love Actually is so stalkery. It's bonkers.
Oh,
You know this one? Does it ring a bell?
I do know it.
Radio?
Yeah, spelt weird.
Yeah.
Honey, I'll always love you.
Oh my God.
I promise to always love you. 'Cause I think the whole world of you. You can't change that. No, no. There's nothing you can do or say. I thought about this for many a day. And my mind's made up to feel this way. And you can't change that.
So it doesn't matter what you do or say.
Yeah, I know. It's rough.
But I want this guy to love me.
Okay, wait.
Listen to this.
Can you pause it?
Yeah.
Um,
Can you stop it?
Can you stop?
I was going to say pause, but I
Stop
mean
that.
stop. Can you stop?
There's a fine line, though, right? Like, because I also think if I said to you, like, there's nothing you could ever do or say that will make me stop loving you.
Yeah.
That's not
great.
stalkery, right?
No, yeah. Oh, like all these things. It's a very fine line between many of these things.
It
I
is.
sounded like Seinfeld there. It's a fine line between all of them. What's going on with this song?
It also sounds a little bit like victim.
It's when he
blaming.
says you could change your telephone number.
Yeah,
You're
that's
like,
bad.
oh,
And
why would
address.
you change it? He doesn't say address
Yeah,
too, does he?
telephone number, you can change your address.
Oh,
okay,
my.
yeah.
No, so it's just clearly
bet-
stalking.
I finally heard that on my 1100th Kimmel, I want to say. He made me a very romantic playlist and he sent it to me. And this was on there. And then I started listening to it over and over again.
Wow. One other quick thing. You know, I watch YouTube videos,
Yes, I do.
and one of them is what I eat in a day. And Mila was on.
Kunis.
Yes. And Mila talked about how much she loves ice cream.
Oh.
And she was talking about a place. And I wanted to tell you to please text her that if she hasn't gone to Antico Nuevo, she has to go for ice cream.
So I'm going to ask you a favor. Will you text that to me? Because
Yeah.
I won't remember those. And
Yeah.
I can't spell that.
I will do that. You
Right.
can copy paste.
You can text me that ice cream. You can tell me to tell me love. But you can't change that. Rob, you can
Oh,
be
God.
really mad that Sydney didn't invite you. But the show's over. We can't go back in time, so you can't change that.
Wow. Good job. That was
you.
pretty good.
Okay.
All right. Well, the other stuff's not. Oh, I mean, I guess one thing I do really want to be clear, but I don't know if it was as clear as it was in the room, but I think it was. I asked Elisabeth a question, you answered, and then I stared at you while you answered, and then you noticed that I was staring at you funny. But I don't know if that reads as well because I don't know that it's clear that I was asking Elisabeth.
Oh.
It might have sounded like I was just asking the room or asking you.
But don't you think once we start unraveling the whole
I
thing
do.
that it becomes very clear you
I hope so.
Yeah.
But I just want to make that clear. That's what was happening. I was like staring at Elisabeth and asked her.
This would be the only time I wish we had video because it would be really great to go to a close up of you looking at me at that moment. Would have been really priceless. It just was a very specific. It was a perfect look. I got exactly what it meant.
But I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
No,
but I
you're
was
just like kind of gobsmacked. Like, what is he doing? Yeah, it was very natural. I don't think you could have chosen to have a different look on your face. That just came out.
I think I was really. My face was like, okay, let him finish. Let him like. It was just like let him finish, and then I'll ask her again.
That sounds rapey,
so I was just
too.
like waiting. Let him finish. Ew. All right. Well, this was fun.
Yes,
Do you
I
have
had
any
a
last
blast.
words?
Any parting words? Any?
No, it's just
Show
really
Dax
nice
your
to be
tattoo.
here.
Oh, can I see? Oh, I like that there's a strip of red in it.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous it was just going to be like a square blob.
I got my first tattoo, and it's a floppy disk on my leg.
It's really cool, and it's a ding 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 to
Elijah Wood.
Thank you, Elijah Wood's episode, because he got all these tattoos at the same
Yeah, we
festival.
both went to Fantastic Fest, and a rite of passage at that film festival is to get a little tattoo together.
What do you think of how tan David's legs are? Very nice.
Because he
right?
wears short
Oh, no,
shorts.
so there's a problem.
Okay.
Because I walk around a lot in shorts,
Yeah.
very tanned, maybe slightly tan legs, but I put on jandals, which I think you call sandals in America, flip-flops.
Yeah, that's
And
not
my-
no, that's not a thing.
My feet are just ghostly white because I'm always wearing socks and shoes. And so now I can't walk around with the feet because it looks horrific.
I'm similarly insecure about my upper thighs.
You are, yeah.
Okay, I love you.
Love
Therapy
you.
starts in 2 minutes.
Okay. Love you.
Bye.